What's up, folks? Welcome back to the stream. Oh, fix my audio here. Looks like it's a little loud. Get that. Oh. Welcome back. We are live with the T5S2 Pod 18 finals for season 6. And we have what I think a pretty representative meta matchup. Necrons back on the finals table. Despite all of the interesting discourse revolving around the Necron faction, yeah, you know, and generally its power level. It's a pretty, it's a hot topic, I guess, how powerful Necrons actually are in the metagame right now. Some people say that they are the most broken thing ever to be released in 40k, and that they should never lose a game. Some people say that they're less powerful than that, depending on, or I guess, sort of regardless of which side of the coin you fall on. They are still a very good faction, and we are seeing them a lot in the finals table, specifically for T5S2 this season. And this time, they are being piloted by a stream regular over here. This is Prospero, aka the other Zach, who has been making a name for himself over the last year or so in the competitive 40k scene, not only on TTS, but also in-person events, with a couple GT wins and top 8 placements under his belt so far, with a variety of factions, including Eldari. I think he's an Eldari at heart, but has picked up Necrons a little bit more recently in order to, I don't know, play with how good they are at scoring points. But Zach has been on the stream quite a bit, and today he's bringing a really interesting Necron list against, over here, I believe the other meta powerhouse. We have Chaos Demons being run by Dragonbeef. This is going to be a big Monster Mash style of list. And chat, I am so excited to see these two lists fight against each other because they are very interesting builds of their respective factions. Necrons over here leaning really heavily into these fast units. We have these massive bricks of Tomb Blades, we have Locust Destroyers, we have Scorpic Destroyers. So beyond the classic core that Necrons are being built around, which is these characters and these Scorpic Destroyers, as well as their sort of OBSEC trading units that can run onto an objective and grab the objective and can complete their secondary objectives. We also have these massive bricks of really fast units that Zach is going to be using to steal his opponent's objectives. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, tons of Tomb Blades, chat, for sure. Over here on the other side of the table, we also have a little bit of an interesting Demons build. We have a Keeper of Secrets, not a unit we see too often. And I'm excited, chat. This is gonna be a spicy one. Players are going through their secondary objective selection real quick here. They just did talk about their lists to each other. We are on conversion today, so 5 objectives, 1 in the center of the table. If your Warlord is killed, which is for the Necrons, it has to be the Silent King, because he is in a Supreme Command detachment. For the Demons, interestingly, post the Bellicor nerf, Bellicor used to be able to be taken in a Supreme Command detachment to unlock all of the Warp Storm.
Rip the Bellicor Warp Storm Point hack lol.
Skedaddle with the Twitch Prime sub. 20 months, buddy. I really appreciate you, Skedaddle. But literally, I was taking the words right out of my mouth. Used to be that Bellicor in a Supreme Command detachment by himself would unlock every single Warp Storm ability for the Demon Army. For those who don't know, these are effectively special kind of stratagems that demons can use, but instead of using command points for them, they use Warp Storm points, which is a special resource that they generate at the start of each round. They typically affect the whole army and will give some effects, but they are unlocked by having detachments allegiant to a particular god. And Bellicor, upon release, was allegiant to all 4 Chaos Gods, so he unlocked every single Warp Storm ability. Right now, Dragonbeef only has a pure Tzeentch detachment. That is his Vanguard detachment with his Flamers and Kairos Fateweaver in it, which means that he has access to the undivided Warp Storm powers, and he has access to the Tzeentch Warp Storm powers, but not of any of the other ones. But that was oftentimes what we saw, Bellicor being the Warlord. His Warlord trait, unfortunately, for Demon players, because Demons don't have a way to generate Warlord traits outside of the one that you get for having your Warlord. Bellicor's Warlord trait is generally very bad. It gives your infantry rerolls to hit, which is just fine, I guess. But now that he's not really incentivized to be taken in a Supreme Command detachment because you can just take him in a normal HQ slot, we are seeing a lot of players move to having the Bloodthirster as their Warlord because the Khorne Warlord traits are incredibly powerful, and that's what Dragonbeef has elected to take today. So let's talk about these lists real quick here. The relevance of that is that if either of the Warlords dies, the Battleforged command points are no longer generated for that player. So if the Bloodthirster goes down, which is going to be tough, then that will prevent Dragonbeef from getting those command points for the rest of the game. Silent King himself is a little bit tougher to kill, but if he does get touched by that Bloodthirster, he may not be long for this world. Although I'm not playing Argath Lord of Blades, which definitely helps at killing that guy. How's it going, chat? By the way, chat, we do have a prediction up for those to pick the winner. It has another 8 minutes remaining right now, so get your Tortoise tokens in there. Play that slot machine. Get yourself some Eat Bolt guns. We don't have any bolt guns today, chat. What's a good soundbite for today with no Eat Bolt guns? Give me some Drive Me Closers for that Silent King. Drive me closer. I want to hit them with my big guitar, says Silent King. All right, let's talk about the lists in specific today, chat. Going through the Necron list to begin with. Sax Necron's running that Supreme Command with the Silent King, as we just saw. All right, I'll take a Xeno spotted. That's appropriate. Demons should count as Xenos, right? They're like technically extra-dimensional invaders, right? It should count. Beyond the Silent King, we do have a single Outrider detachment, so unlocking all of these fast attack choices for these faster infantry and biker units. That is bringing a Plasma Sight, a Catacomb, Command Barge, that guy with the Voltaic Staff, as well as Enduring Will, so he's going to be protected by that transhuman effect from his Quantum Shielding, and then on top of that, he's also going to have a -1 damage on him. So, pretty difficult little guy to kill. You can get a couple extra points from Code of Combat with that guy, and he gives you an additional use of +1 to hit from My Will Be Done, so all useful abilities to have. And I should note as well, chat, we did just verify this with the players at the start of the game. This event started 1 week before the data slate was introduced, which means that this event specifically is not using the data slate. This is, I think, the last event on the server not using the Q4 2022 data slate update, which means that specifically the Catacomb Command Barge and the Silent King are retaining the core keyword for right now, so they're going to benefit themselves from their own rerolls, and they're going to be targetable for their own My Will Be Dones, which is going to be relevant, especially since Dragonbeef potentially has hit penalty effects in the tank, so that he can potentially use to muck with the 2+ weapon skill and ballistic skill that the Necron characters have. If they point themselves at their My Will Be Done effect at themselves, they're going to be able to get through that pretty easily. We have a Chronomancer with a Veil of Darkness in that detachment, 2 units of Scorpic Destroyers, 6 apiece, 2 units of Canoptic Scarabs, 1 of 3 and 1 of 9, so a total of 12. We're seeing this big brick of 9 a lot more often. Sometimes you see players go whole hog on it, where they have the Chronomancer, who we do have here. They have a Canoptic Spider to regenerate a Scarab Swarm every turn, and they have a Reanimator to buff the reanimation protocols. They're not going whole hog on that. We're going to be taking the Tomb Blades instead. But we'll see how those end up working for Zach. Speaking of Tomb Blades, we do have 2 units of 9 Tomb Blades, 1 with Gauss Blasters, 1 with Particle Beamers. I wonder if... It doesn't look like there is a visual difference in the mod for this, but they are noted on their tooltip here. We'll just have to keep that in mind. So one of them with the Gauss Blasters to get some additional AP. The Particle Beamer is obviously high volume, 0 AP, which is actually more effective against demons, given that demons do not care about your armor penetration value. Although they are short range, so the Gauss Blasters will let you shoot at a longer distance. Those Gauss Blasters coming in rapid fire 2, so they can fire 4 shots within 15 inches at strength 5 AP 2, whereas the Particle Beamers are shooting 18 inches at 5 shots apiece. We have another unit of 3 Tomb Blades with Particle Beamers, 2 units of Locust Heavy Destroyers, each of them with Gauss Destructors, so the big 3d3 damage guns. So that's a lot of shooting, and just especially given the fact that these Tomb Blades are going to get +1 to hit, and they're going to get 4 rerolls to hit from the Silent King, they can actually do a ton of damage, especially against these demons. Now, we do have some technology in Dragonbeef's army that's going to make them a little bit less effective, but for the most part, they're going to be pretty useful. That is a very good anti-demon profile. I wonder if it's a little bit tougher against the more heavily armored enemies like Chaos Space Marines, for example, who are sitting on a 1+ or a 0+ armor save. Getting that only AP2 in there probably bounces pretty hard, but you have a high volume, so you can shoot through it pretty well. And you do have all those Locust Heavy Destroyers sitting in the back, alongside the Silent King's Miniers himself. So that's a lot of AP4 shooting to get through that high armor. So it's a very well-balanced... what's the word? A well-balanced selection of ranged attacks, I think, on the Necron side, and I think that's pretty appropriate. There's only a couple with the 5+ invuln on the Tomb Blades. There's 2 of them with Shield Vein. Is that the extra armor save, or is that the... Probably look, chat. I bet it tells me. Shield Banes is a +1 armor save. Okay, so none of them have the invulnerable save, but a couple of them have the armor save, probably just because we had extra points left over. But I think, I mean, the Tomb Blades do have a built-in -1 to be hit. Not going to be super relevant in this one, in this matchup, but still, occasionally relevant. Most of the time they're going to be shot by flamers, which is not going to help. But I think that Zach is, for the most part, going to hope that either your opponent doesn't kill a ton of them, and you get to reanimate a few, or the whole unit's dead and you don't really care that much. But I think the fact that they are, potentially move 20 objective secured models, they can run and grab an objective. You can potentially string them between 2 objectives because the units are so big. You can drop your opponent to a 4 or a 0 on primary even, and then if a unit dies, you're not actually that worried about it. So Zach here just pre-measuring some of his Scarab placements. So before we get too far into the deployment step here. If you guys are starting deployment, just don't forget to start your clocks.
Forget something, go back. It's less like some meaningful dice or information has changed.
If you guys are starting deployment, just don't forget to start your clocks.
Ah, good call.
Oh, yes.
I will figure out this one.
Chat. All right, going through Dragonbeef's list real quick here. Another, again, really spicy lists out of their particular. Obviously, the matchup is pretty meta. The lists in particular are going to be really interesting, which I'm honestly pretty psyched about. So this one is it's a patrol detachment out of Chaos Demons, an undivided detachment. That's bringing the Bloodthirster, who is the Warlord, so he's going to refund the CP from that detachment. And we are bringing a bit of a tank version for him. The Warlord trait for him is going to be Brazen Hide, so a 5+ damage ignore. And we have a different relic than I think we've ever seen on stream so far, the Armor of Scorn, which upon release was broken, but was fortunately fixed eventually, because it didn't. It has a secondary effect that doesn't really do anything. But importantly, it increases the demonic invulnerability save of the Bloodthirster by 1 against 1 damage attacks. And that's huge given the number of 1 damage attacks in this Necron army. We have all of these Tomb Blades. We have, I believe, it's a Gauss cannon on the Catacomb Command Barge, so that won't count. But also a lot of the 9-shot gun from the Silent King, the Staff of Stars. It's also going to be 1 damage. And that Bloodthirster going down to a 3+ demonic invulnerability save against all of that shooting is a huge deal. On top of that, he also has Brazen Hide to make him a little bit tougher to kill, so a 5+ damage ignore roll. And then you also have Indomitable Onslaught as its exalted trait, so an 8 wound phase cap. So this guy is ridiculously difficult to kill. He doesn't have the wound regeneration that you would normally get from taking the Talisman of Blood as your relic instead of the or the Bloodreaker Talisman, excuse me, instead of the Armor of Scorn, but you do get that. You're going to prevent more damage just based on that better save. And I do think that demons they tend to take a lot of damage from these high volume, sort of low AP, low impact shooting. Bolt guns and particle beamers and all this stuff is really, really terrifying for demons to get shot by. And having that extra save against that really, really helps. So I do really like that. I like to see Argath, King of Blades, but sometimes you just gotta make sure that your Bloodthirster survives to get into melee with your opponent. We have 10 Demonettes in that detachment, alongside a Vanguard detachment, this one coming out of Pure Tzeentch. So we do have Be'lakor in that detachment. He's bringing Pall of Despair for a Fight Last effect, as well as Shrouded Step to teleport infantry units around the table, mostly these Tzeentch Flamer units. Basically just a Gate of Infinity for those little guys. But Be'lakor does have all of 4 of the Allegiance keywords, so he does count as a Tzeentch Demon for unlocking Warp Storm abilities out of that detachment. And that, secondly, and most importantly, is bringing Kairos Fateweaver, the double-headed chicken himself, is coming to play today, which is so exciting. Kairos Fateweaver is an absolute badass on the table. It's an interesting debate whether or not you take the classic standard Lord of Change versus Kairos Fateweaver, but I think both of them are very, very effective. Kairos Fate Weaver is extremely good at casting spells. He gets a cast bonus equal to the number of the battle round, so he gets better and better at casting as the game goes on. And he has a once per game Agents of Vect ability to increase the cost of your opponent's stratagems. Well, now what we see that used on for the Necron player today is going to be really interesting. I think we do have Silent King as... he has his 4+ deny potentially within 18 inches of him. We could use it on that because the psychic powers are going to be a big deal for the demons, or potentially we could use it on the whirling blades, the -1 to be wounded for Scorpic destroyers, or even techno-oracular targeting, the automatic wound for a demon, for a Necron ranged attack. I think all of those are very good to double the cost of. Necrons have a couple pretty solid 1 CP stratagems, although that's certainly not the strength of their faction. We then have in that detachment 3 units of 5 Flamers. Probably the best unit in the game right now, I think. I don't think that's a controversial take to say, right? The Tzeentch Flamers are the best unit in 40k. At least until they get nerfed. Eventually they'll get nerfed, but firing 6 plus D6, excuse me, plus 3 Strength 5 AP 2 shots that have can have +1 to wound from Infernal Flames and reroll 1s to wound from a nearby Flux Master. You can also have... There's a couple funky things you can do to increase their strength as well. You can potentially get them up to strength 7 with +1 to wound, so they wound most of the game on 3s or 4s with reroll 1s, and firing an average of 30 shots per squad, automatically hitting, is pretty brutal. Not to mention the fact that they're extremely cheap and very difficult to kill with a 3+ invulnerability save against ranged attacks and 3 wounds each. And they're move 12 infantry, so they can do secondary objectives very well. So, just the complete package for 25 points a model. An incredible unit. And really, that's what's driving the power of Chaos Demons right now. I think Chaos Demons would be thoroughly mediocre were it not for Tzeentch Flamers. Now, I should mention we do have a Flux Master, so a little Tzeentch Herald on a disc of Tzeentch, who's going to be running around and giving those Flamers that +1 to wound and rerolls as well. What are we thinking, chat? Let's take a look at the prediction here. 79% for Necrons. Hot damn. Almost 4-1. Excuse me, 79% for Demons. 4-1 against Necrons. That's a hot take, chat. It's a very hot take. Although this is a spicy Necron list. It'll be interesting to see how well it does. But I do like, we do have these aggressively placed screens. Zach, he's got his Scorpic Destroyers hiding behind some line of sight blockers here. You don't really need to block line of sight against demons on the first turn because they don't have any long ranged attacks unless they're playing like a Soul Grinder Skull Cannon build, which can happen occasionally, but it's not super common. But he does have this 3-model Canoptic Scarab unit and this 3-model Tombblade unit that's going to be able to deny most of the best drop points for this Tzeentch Flamer squad that can potentially be shrouded, stepped across the table by Be'lakor. And with that 6-inch pregame move from Relentlessly Expansionist, those guys are going to be able to push that denial bubble pretty far up the table before the first turn begins. Yeah, we can talk about secondary objectives real quick here, chat. Prospero, with the classic wombo combo of Necron secondaries, Purge the Vermin, so getting points for clearing enemies out of table quarters. The Treasures of Aeons, so holding the objectives in the center of the table. Objectives that his opponent picks that are outside their own deployment zone, so Dragonbeef is, I think, pretty obviously going to pick the 3 in the middle that are the toughest to get to, as well as Ancient Machineries. Requires Zach to perform an action on the objectives outside his deployment zone. That one's probably, if Zach goes first, that's probably good for an easy 12. If Zach goes second, Dragonbeef does have the potential to try to stop that one, potentially by teleporting his Demonettes into objective 4 to prevent a Tombblade unit from just running in and performing that action. Requires Zach to then kill the Demonettes before that happens, and a little bit awkward. Over here on Dragonbeef side of the table, we do have Reality Rebels. No prisoners and grind them down. I don't think you can take those. That's those two are in the same category, chat. I'm surprised that the pack would even the mod would even let you do that. It usually usually prevents that. What's up with that, chat? Hey, can I just confirm the secondary objectives for Dragonbeef?
Yeah.
No prisoners and grind them down are in the same category. I don't. Should be able to
I don't know
take
why
both of
you do
those.
that. It should
Yeah,
be-
yeah. It usually stops that from happening.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go with my original plan then. We'll do interrogation then.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice. All right, we'll fix that chat.
So I
Yeah,
remember thinking,
typically-
I was like, oh, I would have thought they were in the same category, but they wouldn't have let him do that.
Yeah.
It normally doesn't. That's why I didn't even think about it.
There must be something weird with the flipping back and forth between the factions.
Yeah, I imagine what happened is at one point they flipped to a Nakmund secondary selection instead of a Nephilim. Typically what happens, chat, is in that score sheet, if you choose an objective from a particular category, it will blank out all of the other objectives in that category, so they won't even show up as options. But you can flip on the mission pack section. You can flip between different mission packs. Potentially, if you missequence it, you can potentially select objectives from separate mission packs, and I bet that's what happened. That's mostly to unlock faction-specific secondaries. Not sure. Looks like Chaos Demon's taking the first turn. Is that a full 5 on the?
I don't think they super care.
So doing our pregame moves for Zach right now. He does have to be a little bit worried about this Siege Flamer unit running up on turn 1. If it knocks out a Scorpic Destroyer unit sort of instantaneously, that can be a little bit awkward for Zach. But it is, with only 5 Siege Flamers in each unit, it is tough for them to kill the entirety of a Destroyer unit. It's much more likely if they are a full 6 model unit, but you can dump CP into making them a little bit more effective. Specifically, re-rolling their numbers of attacks is a pretty good use of CP. You can usually with 5 dice, you have a 1 or a 2 in there that you can re-roll into a higher number.
To wander kind of backwards.
Flamers are a silly, chat, for sure, 100%. And I think especially against, I think the scary part for the Necrons here is those Flamers hitting the Tomb Blades. They can't get to wounding the Tomb Blades on 3s. And you are right, chat. The Tomb Blades do have Shadow Looms. I missed that initially. So they do have a 5+ invulnerable save, and they'll be able to save it on 5s from the Flamers almost universally, because the guys who don't have the invulnerable save have a 3+ armor save, so they would be going to a 5+ regardless. So, but I mean, it's only 18 wounds, and Flamers can put 27 damage through pretty easily with enough rerolls, and especially since we do have Kairos Fate Weaver and a bunch of Psychers in here. There are 4 total Psychers in the Tzeentch unit, or in the Demon army, so they can do a couple wounds worth of smites and then get the Flamers in to finish the unit off. And that is a big, expensive unit to get for Necrons to lose. Now, obviously, it is pretty dicey. Necrons are made significantly worse if they are one-shot, because they then don't get to roll their reanimation protocols. Whereas if they just eat the hit and the whole unit dies, they don't get to reanimate at all, which means that's what Dragonbeef is going to be looking to do. But obviously, Flamers are a pretty dicey unit. You're rolling the number of attacks, so they could spike low on that. And if that ever happens, the Necrons get a huge, huge benefit. Looks like Zach's just going to be pulling his units into a defensive position here. He did push his Scorpic Destroyers up the side towards Objective 2. He does have to push up and grab that on turn 1 to score out his Treasures of Eons. Be interesting to see what he baits Dragonbeef into doing. I wonder if Dragonbeef wants to knock out this Canoptic Scarab Swarm. He can potentially knock that out pretty fast, although with only 1 Flamer unit on the table, I think it is dangerous. I'm wondering if he was a little bit worried about putting the too many Tzeentch Flamers out there and getting one of them Veil of Darkness and hit early.
I feel okay being there. Okay. I don't know. That's what we got. Doing 2, my dude.
Awesome. Don't forget command points for you. I start with 0.
Start with 3. Oh, where are they? Over here. And then there are the Brett
Yeah,
players.
Rubrics wish they were as silly as
Awesome. You wanna pass
Zinch Flamers. Now, Rubrics over here, their move 6, non-fly. Get out of here. You have a 3+ armor save instead of a 3+ demonic invulnerability?
Sure, I'll be fine, right?
What garbage. 2 wounds each instead of 3?
So nothing
Whatever,
else.
man.
Moving on.
At least they have a Psyker in the unit. That's pretty cool.
Here, that shoots. Okay.
Oh, I have my protocol. Sorry, I'll put those. Boop. My permanent protocol is Conquering Tyrant, so it could be either 3-inch bonus range or fall back and shoot. For this turn, it'll be 3-inch range. And my first turn protocol is going to be cover for everyone.
3-inch range. Understood.
3-inch range on auras, I should be clear.
Okay.
No, I think one big problem that Dragonbeef is going to experience this game is a general lack of objective secured.
Or whatever.
He has a single objective secured unit on his side of the table, which is these Demonettes back here. And that means that basically any time that Zach can sneak one model through onto Dragonbeef's objectives, he is going to be able to steal them from him.
As long as they're within 6 of,
Now, fortunately, Chaos Demon's secondary objectives are pretty strong, especially that no prisoners pick. Should get a pretty good score.
and there is one protocol.
Yeah, it's pretty close to max. Not easy to. Looks like he can get 7 points off the Tomb Blades alone. Is that right? No. There are 21 Tomb Blades. So 4 points off the Tomb Blade. Another 3 points. 4 points, 5 points off of the Scarab Swarms. Because all the Tomb Blades and the Scarab Swarms, that's 9. And you should be able to get the rest out of the Scorpic Destroyers and the bonus points for that secondary. So that is pretty easily maxable. And obviously it ticks up even more if any of those models ever reanimate. Aggressive move from the Bloodthirster here. Look at him go. That is a unit that you often see Warp Locust into the table. So for those who don't know, the demon units that are in reserve, which we do have the Keeper of Secrets and 2 units of Zinch Flamers, can come in the leadership value of enemy models away in the center of the table outside the enemy deployment zone. So mostly 10 inches away, it restrains down to 9 inches. But there are also multiple effects in the demon army to reduce leadership. Everything has a 6-inch aura -1 leadership, and Be'lakor can double that.
For everyone shooting and reroll a wound.
Which means they can potentially jump in 8 inches away from anything that they can debuff. They can also hop wholly within 6 inches of Be'lakor and 6 inches away from enemies, or just 3 inches away from enemies in their own deployment zone. So oftentimes you see the Bloodthirster dropped in reserve, so he doesn't take any phase caps worth of damage early. I think as it stands right now, it's probably likely, because there's no real shooting to threaten the Silent King or the Locust Destroyers, they're going to be able to put him 8 wounds on his phase cap immediately, which puts him in the realm to be 2 tapped on the following turn, because he's not on the table. Now, obviously, I think you'd probably have to drop the Bloodthirster and the Keeper of Secrets in reserve if you were going to do that, because the Keeper of Secrets, she is very fast. Move 12, I believe, on those ladies. Move 16, excuse me. But cannot go through walls, unlike the other flying demons. So they do have to wander around, and that makes them kind of unmaneuverable. Kairos Feetweaver, not quite as worried about the damage from these big guns, though. He does have a 3+ vulnerability save. And that is one of the big question marks between taking Kairos or a regular Lord of Change. The regular Lord of Change gets access to the Impossible Robe, which blanks one of those hits every phase. So even if one of the Triarchal Miniers or the Locust Heavy Destroyers get through with that 6 damage or 3d3 damage guns, you can just turn the damage to 0. Looks like Kairos setting up here to do some damage with his Psychic powers. You get to punch through reanimation protocols. Now, Kairos is much easier to kill in melee than he is at range. But Dragonbeef would like nothing more than for his opponent to send as much shooting as they can into Kairos' really, really strong and vulnerable demonic invulnerability save, rather than going for the Bloodthirster, I think. Especially since Kairos doesn't really benefit or bracket too hard. Given that he's mostly doing damage in the psychic phase, he doesn't really care so much about taking damage early. His melee stats going down don't really affect him too much.
I guess I'll move these guys up here first.
Yeah, chat. So going back to the point about secondary objectives, we have that no prisoners, which is relatively easily maxable for Dragonbeef. Reality Rebels is an incredible secondary. It's super duper strong. We'll score the demons 1 point, excuse me, for every table quarter that they have. They outnumber their opponent in, or tie with their opponent with the number of units. So basically, any table quarter that they have models in that their opponent does not have more models in, they will get a point, which means you're automatically getting 1 point per turn. For your home table quarter, you can oftentimes get 2. And then you also get a point for having a unit wholly within 6 inches of the center of the table, which is, importantly, there is an objective there. So you are going to be putting models there. Oftentimes, you play kind of conservatively with demons and you score 1 or 2 points a turn in the early game. But as the game goes on and you start killing units all over the table, as your flamers start deep striking in, as your greater demons start deep striking in, and you just start murdering people, you start to score 3 to 4 points a turn on that very easily. Most importantly, because it scores at the end of the turn. So here we go here with the Tzeentch Flamers, popping in with a Shrouded Step. Going to try to get some shots into this Locust Heavy Destroyer unit. If we can clip that out, that's a lot of shooting that could go into the Bloodthirster we no longer have to deal with. And the most important thing about these Tzeentch Flamers, and the reason that they're such a powerful and annoying unit to deal with, and you really have to, when you're building a list to be competitive in Warhammer 40,000 in the current scene, you have to have a plan for dealing with Tzeentch Flamers. The reason for that is, obviously, they do have this maneuverability. They're very fast, and they can teleport around the table. But they're also difficult to deal with. They have a 3+ invulnerability save against ranged attacks, so shooting at them is not a guarantee that you're going to remove them. And if you're trying to get into melee, they can overwatch you. And they're overwatch, obviously, with 1 million flamers. And they've been infernally flambéed. Love that. 1 million flamer shots automatically hitting is going to basically limit the combat power of most units going in. If this Scorpic Destroyer unit charges into this unit of Tzeentch Flamers with +1 to wound them, you're probably going to lose most of the Scorpic Destroyer unit. Probably not the entire thing, but most of it on your own turn, and then your opponent gets to activate and finish them off.
Against the Scarabs, that's 3. And against your Slasher guys, just 1.
Yeah, that would be cool if the Demonic Manifestation Deep Strike rules do go away if you soup in the demons with another Chaos subfaction, which is unfortunate for Chaos Space Marines, because oftentimes you want to be playing demons, demons together with them. If you had that Night Lord leadership manipulation plus the demons deep striking ability, you could go basically anywhere on the table, which would be amazing. But a lot of Night Lord players are bringing bringing demons specifically, not only because demons are great, but also because they do give that -1 leadership aura, which can impact a lot of Night Lord's abilities.
Yep. And then
2 mortals on top of that.
Wow, so it looks like
2 models, yes.
Yep.
huge hit from a Bolt of Change there, clipping out 2 Scarab Swarms, dinking another Scarab Swarm for a couple.
3, 4, 2.
Thanks. Last guy.
Moving on to shooting, we'll go Flamers into your Heavy Destroyers back here.
No, poor heavies.
All right, let's see these Flamers. Almost entirely tooled
all right,
up.
So that was
See a
21
CP
plus
reroll on that
15, so 36.
Should be fine. Only 36 automatic hits. Winning on 3s here. Strength 5 versus Toughness 5 with +1 to wound. That looks like
you get +1 to wound, Strength 5, T5. So we were on 4s, so 3s with the +1. Don't get rerolls, so that's
drops
27.
9. Just a casual 27 wounds. This unit has 12 wounds. We have to make... they are in cover right now, so they do get a 4+ save. It does not look a... Yep, like a dead unit. All right, good start. And then obviously that begs the question, how do you deal with these flamers? I do think that there is enough shooting here to kill the flamers right now, just because we do have the 2 Tombblade units, plus the Silent King giving them rerolls. But those are shots that you would rather be putting into Kairos Fateweaver or moving up aggressively and performing actions. And now that we do have to deal with this annoying flamer unit, which we should mention, chat, is 125 points. 125 points for this unit, by the way. They're 25 points a model. Now that you have to spend basically an entire turn dealing with this unit, you're going to lose a lot of pressure you could be putting on your opponent. Now we do have 3 Warpstorm points in the chamber for Dragonbeef this battle round.
I do get Rebel. You can go while I count that, so I'll get just 2.
Oh, excuse me. I think actually he's going to reroll. Oh no, he's not going to reroll. Yeah, he rolled at the start of the turn. That was top of 1. So he does have 3 Warpstorm points in the chamber. So he has the potential to make the Necron army -1 to hit him outside 12 inches. So if we don't see these Tombblades push up too far, and they decide to stay relatively cagey so that the Bloodthirster doesn't punch them, then we could blunt a little bit of their shooting, and they can make things awkward. Although obviously with all the +1s to hit we have for Prospero and those rerolls, it's going to be able to get through that pretty easily.
We're off the races with a little bit of movement. I think you guys are probably going this direction, but probably advancing that you guys are walking normally. Boop, 10 inches. Go and on that point. Or if I put this thing, the old ancient machinery is it. Boop. And
so benefit of putting the Bloodthirster where he is right now. Obviously, he is phase capped, and he's out of threat range, melee threat range of the Necron army, so he can't die this turn. He can't take more than 8 wounds, which means he's going to be there to push to objective 4 and kill anything that gets up there. Which means that if Prospero overextending to try to grab more territory just puts himself in threat, that Greater Demon, which he doesn't really want to be doing right now. And because he didn't go to first, this is, I think, one of the big problems with Necrons currently is that Ancient Machineries is a very consistent objective, but it can be very difficult to score in some circumstances because it requires you to perform objectives on, or perform an action on an objective that you control. If you go first, because you have a 6-inch pregame move, you can move your model so aggressively that you can start performing that action on objectives in your opponent's territory. And that means it is very easy to max out very quickly. You can get, especially in these 5 objective missions, if Prospero was to go first, he could jump his Tombblades over to this objective on the first turn. They just move 6 inches across the midline of the table, move their 14, and perform the action. But because he's going second, now Dragonbeef not only can punish him if those Tombblades move forward, but also can threaten that objective now. So it's even more difficult to get units on there. They would still be able to complete the action, but then they would die. Which means that Necrons going first are dramatically more effective than Necrons going second on their secondary objectives. And that is going to be, I think that's going to be an important thing that we'll see probably as this game goes on. I don't know if Prospero is going to want to force these Tombblades too far forward because they can just get picked up by Tzeentch Flamers teleporting in. But if he doesn't, he's never going to complete that secondary or max that secondary.
That's their maximum. I will once again move this thing. I'll just kind of spread out a little bit back here because they don't really want to pop super hard.
Big downside is that Dragonbeef wasn't able to get anybody on that objective, so he is going to be locking himself to a 4-point primary this turn. And Necrons do have bottom round 5 scoring in this circumstance, so he does have to consider that Necrons will almost certainly have a 12-point primary in the tank. Even if Prospero plays very conservatively, right now he's probably locked into getting 8 points a turn and then a 12 on the final round, which means that the Demons have to push to try to get some 12-point turns in the mid-game, which is going to be very difficult given the fact they have almost no objective secured. They can sort of ape objective secured, though, by putting models directly over the center of the table and forcing any Necrons that come in to, either to kill them with shooting and or melee, or to tow the objective and eat a heroic intervention. And most of these demons will kill most of the Necron army in one melee fight. Those big Tombblade bricks, probably the one exception, but the Scorpic Destroyers would most likely die to a Bloodthirster or the Keeper of Secrets, and especially if they start taking damage. It looks like we did start taking a couple wounds from an Infernal Gateway already on that unit. So how are we feeling about this game so far, chat? Pretty aggressive play from the Demons early, especially dropping that Bloodthirster on the table. But we did get one of these Destroyer units off the table before it was able to do anything. And I think it will come down a little bit to how well this Demonic Invulnerability holds up this turn. It's going to be keeping those Destroyers back in case something can sneak in and get them. I think it is, especially since a lot of these models over here are going to be hiding outside line of sight, which means that I think Kairos can potentially be smiting into that unit if he blocks his own line of sight to the models on holding on to Objective 2. I think Kairos with a couple decent rolls can potentially knock out that Destroyer unit. Although Chaos Demons very much embrace the chaos of their lore, and sometimes the Lords of Change just don't do anything. Sometimes they decide not to do any mortal wounds. But sometimes they can just burn 12 or 15 damage on somebody if they roll a bunch of super smites, especially with Kairos Fate Weavers cast bonuses.
You never know how much to put into that. 3-ups just mean anything could be anything.
Anything could be anything.
But either way, these Menhirs want the shots.
Yeah, I definitely think it's gonna be important how Dragonbeef plays this early game. All Zach has to do, because he has so much of a scoring presence, all he has to do is play very conservatively and not lose too much of his army, and that's really, I mean, that's the question mark for playing with Necrons, I think, effectively, is that you can't allow yourself to get too aggressive and give too much to your opponent, especially an opponent that has so much melee power in the bank. So it looks like we're just going to be pushing our Team Blades forward, getting Silent King in range to start shooting at these Flamers. Setting our formation. There you go. We figured it out. And I imagine that is probably all we're going to be seeing fired into them. I don't think Zach is going to... I don't think he's going to move these Scorpic Destroyers too aggressively down towards the southern side of the table right now, because they are just begging for another Flamer unit to teleport in and kill them. Or this Bloodthirster gets in and starts chopping the unit up. But we staying at 18 inches, keeping this KG position is exactly what Zach needs to do. But the downside for him is that it does unlock those 3 Warp Storm points that Dragonbeef has in the bank there to use to make his guys -1 to hit.
Start banging their head at the wall. I think we sure got it. Tradition demands it. Mr. King is going to back up a little bit here. Oh my. This model is quite something. Just to make sure we cover this in when it's teleporting down there. And then, see a Flamer or two. And then these Menhirs don't have to do much of anything to get line of sight, but they'll spec cute. Go 36, looks great. These here 2 blades will just kind of peekaboo out to here. It's like right at space so that there's not a 12-inch drop for someone over here, which I think there's not. Add a couple of shots to the team.
Zach using his smaller units to screen out a drop into his larger units. He doesn't want to lose those big 18 model Tomb Blade units too early. Especially since I think those are going to be basically Prospero's insurance in this game. Those are what he's going to use to grab the 12-point primary on the bottom round 5. He has a 20-inch movement with one of these units. Basically, can string across 2 objectives in the center. Even if he gets pushed on every other objective in the early game, one of these Tomb Blade units is going to be able to score him a 12-point turn. Losing them too early would be really disastrous. Now, I almost would have loved to have seen this Bloodthirster touch the center of the table. I actually think I might have liked to have seen that, because the Necrons, as it stands, have no way of one-rounding the Bloodthirster. They can do 8 damage to it in shooting, which they probably will, and they can potentially do 8 damage to it in melee with the Scorpic Destroyers, but it does probably require them to have the Plasma Sight nearby, which they didn't. And if the Bloodthirster just toad in the center of the table, he could force either the Necron player to give something to him to prevent him scoring an 8-point primary, or he could encourage Prospero to move aggressively too far forward and try to kill him. In which case, the Bloodthirster probably doesn't die, or certainly doesn't die, probably kills the Scorpic Destroyer unit in response, and then just hides behind this objective, on this objective for the rest of the game and doesn't. And I think that's probably a fair trade for that Bloodthirster, especially if you boss a couple Warp Storm rolls. You can start healing that guy as the game goes on, and can potentially get him out on the table a later turn. He doesn't give up any points for Zach if he dies, but if he dies too early, he can you can lose enough CP that it sucks. But I think sort of putting him out as bait early makes a ton of sense.
Fate Weaver. Yeah, 3 shots off of her cannon. 2s. And then 5s. 1 wound.
I think we may not have used our -1 to hit Warp Storm power.
And then over here, these 2 blades.
We certainly could have, although it doesn't do too much.
For 6's auto wound. There are 9 of them. And they have 2 shots each. Hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s. I think it's in their interest to reroll everything, so they'll do that. Off the Sonic King. Shoot. So we have a couple auto wounds, and then wounding on 5s. Not many saves.
All right,
This
Kairos.
is D1, right?
Hit D1.
I have 1 CP. I'll just roll it.
It's 2
so
damage
15.
going through on the big bird.
Bonk.
Well, we might have
And
as a
over
gaze of
here,
fade up,
we
actually. I
got
bet we
these 2
do.
blades, so we'll shoot the flames.
Dragonbeef is probably holding on to those points for next turn
red?
to get a
Okay,
big
yep.
turn.
There are 6 shots each, so 54.
You have 8 guys or 9?
It should be. Let's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Uh-oh. Where have you gone? Did I leave them somewhere? They certainly didn't die, right?
No, I didn't shoot that squad.
I'll check my list to make sure I didn't do it wrong. Where am I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't know. I don't know what happened.
And you have 9 and 9?
Yeah, 9 and 9 in the list. I guess I just copy one?
Yeah, I guess copy one, sure.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. That's why I was just confused, but yeah, 54 if that's your list. Good.
Really not sure what happened there.
Weird. All right, well,
Like I said, we're playing by intent. I'm having fun.
sounds like we fixed it.
Those are 6 shots.
Sick.
Hitting on 2s,
Lefty
rolling.
too.
Oops. Well, okay.
Something weird's going on.
I'm gonna reroll them all again instead of trying to figure out which ones rolled, unless you care.
Yeah, no, you're good.
You don't care that I'm rolling the Wiccans either. Get them out of there. Get out.
That's 54
That was a
dice,
lot
so
of
we'll take it.
ones.
Sounds great. And then
Oof.
because you roll off the silent.
Fortunately, they're re-rolling. There you
Okay,
go.
so-
That's the conversion you
And
like.
then
100% conversion.
Rank 5. You're
Threes.
T5, right?
T4, so 3s.
T4. Ooh, 3s. I deleted too many. Red player.
8 3s.
8 3s.
So should have 39 saves.
Go for it.
39
we
saves.
got going on here?
You'll be fine, guys. Don't worry.
On 3s.
Looks like we only lose 3.
3.
Very nice. You have Silent King in the back there, though. Use extra Tomb Blades as well.
And we'll have
Probably be able to kill the unit, but we do have a CP reroll in the bank potentially for Dragonbeef, although he might be. I imagine he's going to save that for the Bloodthirster. Interestingly,
we're going
we're going to be shooting the Triarch many years at Kairos.
So relevant.
A little bit of an
He gets 3
interesting.
shots. He hits on 3s. He is all strength 5.
3s, cool. Ooh, alright, how much damage?
Damage 2.
Damage.
Oh, damage 1. Nope, damage 1.
Alright, so just another guy dead.
Then
Wow.
these two blades shoot that one guy.
Good job, Chronomancer. Okay.
They should have 18 shots. Yes, that's right. I can do math.
Interesting.
Hitting on 3s, these ones are, and within range of the Silent King to reroll. And then moving on 3s.
And we'll go.
Cool. Just a million dice. I'm not an orc, I swear. Cool. Well, we want to do more damage to the big guys, but that's the way it goes. Silent King has no one for him personally to shoot. I guess he can see this guy, but it's out of range. But his minions will shoot the Big Weaver all the day. Oop. Hits on 2s. Wins on 3s. 2 saves. Sometimes you may want to be put at a time.
Yeah.
If you plan to reroll them, that is.
Yep. Saved. Saved.
Okie dokie.
Sexy demonic invulnerability
Well done.
there. Saving 12 damage.
Score
Off of
our
Silent King. Get out of here, Silent
score
King.
from
You do nothing.
Ancient Machinery for having done 1 action. As far as Treasures of the Aeons go, I control 1 objective for 2 points. And Purge the
Does that
Vermin.
not fire
I
his
can deal
Locust
with Order
Destroyers?
Clear and Might of Limsa for 3 points.
We might have missed
And I hold 1 objective in the middle for 2 points on conversion. Over to you, my friend.
I definitely have had that experience too. In chat.
So I.
Sometimes you just sign up for like 5 pods in a row, and then you start forgetting which list you submitted in which. Especially if it's like a new season and you're playing lots of different lists. I kind of had to stop myself playing like multiple lists with Tyranids because I kept changing lists and I would play it. At least right now until I figure out a list I want to play. But it looks like we did kill those flamers. That feels pretty good for Prospero, though he did sort of give them up pretty dearly. But he is in a very good defensive position. He has most of this front area screened out with the Scorpic Destroyers. They're in an unchargeable position right now. He has the Scarab Swarms screening from behind the line of sight blocking on this objective up here, screening out any potential drops into his stuff in the back. And again, all that Zach has to do in this game, all that Prospero has to do, is play very conservatively. He has no reason to push too far forward and try to get 12-point primaries because he has that bottom round 5 scoring. He needs Dragonbeef to come into him and make a mistake. And I think Dragonbeef, on the other hand, basically needs to push way too far forward and kill too much stuff, and I think it's going to be difficult for him. Now, he can do a little bit of damage to the Scarab Swarm here. I think that's what Kairos is going to be doing because Kairos can see over these walls, being tall enough. Importantly, Prospero also had his characters placed very far back. So Dragonbeef didn't get the opportunity to cyclically interrogate on the first turn of the game, which is going to hurt quite a bit. He can probably be completing it this turn with one of the smaller characters. Kairos can be sending Mortal Wounds through. But now that the Catacomb Command Barge is pushed out a little bit, he can do it. But that is going to cut him 3 points permanently, actually. And I'm a little bit worried about Kairos getting too close to these Scorpic Destroyers, because one thing Kairos doesn't do is survive Scorpic Destroyers in melee. His melee save is not great, fortunately, although Dragonbeef does have to coax Prospero forward out of his hidey hole so he can actually do some damage with his own melee units. Looks like we're going to use a Warp Portal. Teleport the Flux Master over. I kind of like that play. That's kind of cute. I do believe he hides behind that wall. Looks like he does very effectively. Maybe not against Silent King. But he does have a 3+ invulnerable tip against ranged attacks, so he's probably fine.
Bloodthirster. Can't charge the wall.
Turns out AP bonus from Generators is not useful into demons. Shocking. Shocking. Really incredible. That Flux Master can score Reality Rebel, so we're probably going to be looking for a 3-point turn on Reality Rebels here, which is pretty good clip to be scoring that secondary at. We're already 2 points up on No Prisoners too, which we'll score at the end of the game.
Makes sense.
I think the important thing to keep in mind is that outside of that psychic interrogation, most of Dragonbeef's points can be scored pretty quickly, especially to no prisoners in the Reality Rebels, which means that Prospero is going to have that early game victory point lead just from being Necrons and having secondary objectives that tick up so fast. But once those secondary objectives start capping out, it's kind of all... It's blue skies for Dragonbeef because he's going to continue to get a bunch of damage, or continue to get a bunch of points. But I think Dragonbeef pretty excited that this Bloodthirster didn't take any damage that turn. That means he can push very far forward with him and use him very aggressively. Sort of force Prospero into a situation where he has to do the 16 damage in one turn. And if that Brazen Hide survives, keeps him alive... Doing here? Or maybe trying to position Warp Locust for that Keeper to get in.
That's 6 because of Fate Weaver.
Oh no! If I get Bellicor up, he's the focus, and you can bring her
Gotcha.
down with
That
us.
makes sense.
So from there, that would be 9 on the dice, so 7. It's outside chargeable, so I have to come this direction. Can't charge you through the wall. I think that's still how I have to play it. So the question for me is, can I get Bellicor?
This is very aggressive, chat. I love this. I think, like we said, Dragonbeef just knows that he has to get work done this turn. So we're just gonna rocket his models up. Going 14 with.
I don't know if that gets me what I need, but we're going to see. So.
Oh, I think he missed that positioning by an
It has to be wholly within,
inch.
or is it just within?
It has to be wholly within.
I think maybe a missed sequence on movement here. If Bellicor had gone before Kairos, he could have gone where Kairos stands and put the Keeper of Secrets there. Oh, maybe we can drag the Keeper back a little bit. Playing with all those big bases is
actually changes charge.
Certainly tough.
I think it would add 1 inch, but
Might add an inch.
All right, so I think Dragonbeef just hoping he can grab that one.
All right, so I was gonna say
He can grab that big charge at the reroll.
Yeah, it's fine. So we'll
The Keeper.
These guys.
Look at what the Keeper's equipped with.
You still have that and that.
They do have a Shining Aegis, the 4+ demonic invulnerability save in melee. So they're 4+4+ all the time. Basically what the Bloodthirster has. They have... Interestingly, no Exalted trait, it looks like. We -1 to be wounded in melee. But instead, we're going to be running the Relic. The Soul Stealer Sword. So, the Keeper can regenerate wounds on models. Also gives him a 3 damage. Pretty solid sword. Seems pretty good. Automatically wins against Eldari as well. Take that. Haha, got him. Alright, well, fair enough. Let's fight. Yeah, so Kairos is also a Warp Locust, specifically for Zinj Demons. Bellicor is a Locust for everyone, so he can bring down the Keeper, but Kairos can bring down the Flamers. Wholly within 6 inches of himself.
Cool.
Do I need it? I care about getting anything specifically off here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll still spend it. I don't think the other version is going to help me any at the moment either. All right, cool. Let's clear you 2 new dice. We will start with the interrogation since that's the important piece. Although you can do Zarek, who's out of range, so cool. Yeah, we'll start with that then. That will. I guess we'll
Get the pants off that guy.
Yeah. Well, how much damage does it take? D3. It takes 1.
That's a pretty good trade.
So it goes to 5, but I do get it free. And I get the CP, so I'll take it.
Nice.
Takes 1 mortal
3.
wound for a command point. Love it.
Then, sorry, give me 1 second if you don't mind. My wife is pinging me about something.
Of course.
Okay, cool. Alright, so your cast, Bellicor. Do I care about Paul at all? Can't really see much. You guys are.
Which is my favorite greater demon? Ooh, that's a good question, Chad. I think I like Lords of Change.
Senor Weaver.
I think they're my favorite. They look cool. They cast a bunch of magic powers. They're big bird. From there, it's probably Bloodthirster. It's the King of Blade Bloodthirster. I love that guy. He's just so smashy.
We got here. Cool. It's an 11-13, so that's an automatic 3 to all 3 of these units.
Cool. I could attempt.
Big
Nice.
explosion.
Or probably something more reasonable later, so I don't think I actually can behind that. So, yeah, so just 3, we said, to these 3
Yep,
units?
anything over a 12 is a flat 3.
Which 3 units? These 3?
So it was cast on the closest, so it goes to blue because he sees them. So the 3, and then leaves these more than 3 of him. Yep.
Gotcha.
Just this.
So I'll kill, it does 3.
Yep, only 3.
And it does 3. Would you be coherent without 2? You would not be coherent. I guess do it to you. And then you take 3, which will kill a friendo. Friend dead.
It's a Scorpic
Then
Destroyer
we
for his
will
trouble there,
cast
too.
Bolt.
And there's no Technomancers in this list, so if they die in the game, they die in real life. The Bolt of Change here, too, is going to, if it does any damage, is going to automatically kill a Scarab Swarm.
He is +3 right now from Balron 2, +1 from a Psychic. Warpstone.
What's this? There's 1 more cast, right?
It's 3 cast, yes.
Well, hold on.
So this will go off on 7, so he's at a 10 right now.
Yep, so it goes off.
Okay. That is 96.
Yeah, I appreciate...
And we're going to put that on... You guys are just out, so... We're
I appreciate that the Bloodthirsters have sort of been established thematically as being sort of kind of the most straightforward of the Greater Demons. Their raw stats are probably better than any of the other Greater Demons, but they have no access to rerolls or any sort of combat chicanery. I think that that's exactly where Khorne wants to be, right? It's just so straightforward. They're the best at fighting, but they're not reliant on anything. Any external buffs. No trickery here. Just raw damage.
So that is that, and then 1 more for the death.
Oh, and 1 more.
Links the Scarab Swarm for a couple
and then we will
more.
Smite. That is 5.
I think we get a super smite there. Yeah, Kara's just dumping mortal wounds into this this Necron army right now. He hit for 9 plus 3 more
Keeper of Secrets.
plus another 3. He just hit for 15 mortals. No big deal. Seems good.
Can I see you through that crack? I'm not sure actually here.
That's a good question.
Let's take a look. See, I think I can. So it might actually be purple. So yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think it's purple. Alright, so Choir's gonna go on them either way. It's worth Phantasmagoria against them. Yes, I have one smite, which is probably the better course here. Alright, we're going to Phantasma them.
What's that do again?
Nothing, because it didn't go off. But
Oh,
it's 66, and on every 5 up, it's 1 mortal and -1 to your leadership.
Gotcha.
And the second cast, because that didn't go off, we're just going to smite with her. So this is second smite. That will go off on a 6, though.
A 7, actually.
She doesn't get +1. That's only each.
Oh, for her. I think that's fine with me. Go ahead.
All right, so that's D3 into purple. For 3.
Ouch.
Nice. That'll kill this guy.
That keeper makes his charge. That extra damage doesn't matter. But again, these Necron units, they can heal, but they aren't coming
so
back.
2 casts, his 3 casts.
So any of these
so Bellicor,
hits that go through are going to be permanent.
He does not have line of sight to them. Doesn't line of sight, does, but out of range. Okay, so I think the best thing we
Bellicor
can do is nothing.
Might be LOS blocked by Kairos, which is a little bit funny.
Yeah, nothing. Everything's 18-inch range.
Oh, Kairos.
Might.
Hold those wings in, buddy. Too big.
Not far enough, so that's good there.
Just a mad lad surrounded by his boys, just like 1,500 points in the middle of the table.
Going at it. Yep. Okay. I think the psychic. Moving on to shooting phase. Yeah. That's that.
Fair enough. We have the shield and the keeper,
charge
not the big whip.
phase,
See if the keeper gets in there.
Is out of range, so we're going to charge here.
I'm rooting for the keeper here.
10.4, right? We said earlier.
Let's get in there, keeper.
Yep. So just over. So that's 8 on the dice because she has +2. That's a 7 on the dice. So that 1 inch did make a difference.
Tragic.
Tragic.
You just knew it was going to come down to it.
Yeah, question is, do I CP reroll that? I think I need to get her into stuff, so we will try it, and we will roll that again.
Oh, the boxcars on the charge, chat. Keeper pounces in on this Necron army. Let's go. I think really just asks that, just dares that command barge to heroically intervene. Please, please intervene into me, sir. Right now, I'm gonna gratuitously overkill this unit of two Canoptic Scarabs, but getting every single one of these little objective security units off the table is going to be hugely important for Dragonbeef right now. So he needs to kill them, even if it feels inefficient. It does buy him time. It puts pressure on the Necron army, and puts his models in a more advantageous position to start smashing next turn. I'm a little bit worried about these blue Scarabs. I'm not sure Dragonbeef has a good way to deal with those, because he hasn't given himself an easy way to jump his models into that ruin. So if they elect to just sort of pull back, they're not really in danger right now. So he doesn't have a great way to interact with Objective 2, but he can get his models up close enough that he is going to start forcing Necron player to feed him stuff. I think he's right now, like we talked about before, he's threatening that 12-point primary turn by putting Bellicor in the middle of the table and saying, anything that touches this middle objective is going to get intervened by me. The big Tomb Blade bricks are too big to touch that without engaging any of the greater demons. And he could throw the Scorpex in, but outside Bellicor, or I guess, I mean, they could probably charge Fate Weaver and maybe touch the middle, but it looks a little bit tough. There goes the Scarabs, and it looks like the Keeper is just going to be basing that Catacomb Command Barge, eating maybe a couple damage from it, but they are -1 to be hit in melee, I believe. And have that 4+ Demonic Invulnerability.
Cool, there's some bonking. Command Barge here, I think, is based.
What's some bonking?
Right?
It's whole measured, right? So
Yeah, I don't. There's a whole debate about that I don't fully understand about hull measuring and basing, but in my opinion, it's based, so I don't think it's going anywhere.
Turns out, hull measurement is a nightmare of a rule. And we should probably just get rid of it. 10th edition, maybe.
dice.
Crossing my fingers. 10th edition. No hull measurement. That'd be
Rank
great.
5 is
Hitting
5.
on 3s actually. She's -1 to hit.
You are -1 to hit. 1 second. I rolled. What did I roll? Where do you know where the dice box is? Somewhere there's a record of this stuff.
I believe it's right above the dice rolls. Last roll, last 5 rolls. So last roll. There you go. You had 1-1.
Last rolls.
You had 1-2, 1-3, 2 4s. You had 1-3.
So still.
Yeah, you can occasionally force leadership on Necron armies. Zach or Prospero specifically does love failing leadership checks with his Necrons. It happens a little bit more often than you'd think. I think because he tends to favor the big bricks of models over the more MSU style builds. Ooh, look at that big
You're good. This is on 4s.
big wound roll there. Only one goes through though. It takes 2 damage on the trigger. Seems fine. And no ability to fall back and shoot with that guy. You could potentially run over the Chronomancer and jump him out of melee. But that seems unnecessary. I think what we're going to be doing is probably jumping the destroyers out of melee with a Veil of Darkness here.
Oh, it's 3D measuring. That's what's going on. No, I don't. I have no explanation. We'll do his best to just try and get within 0.5. No, not possible.
Yep, there you go. Right there. You're good.
Sounds good. And then scouts. If that is actually closer. 1.3. No, probably not.
If you come this way, you should be able to swing that guy this way.
Yeah. I don't think these guys will do much, but they'll try. This guy is not going to get within 0.5 of his friend. Pretty sure.
Ran 2 Scorpex's Night Lords, yeah. It feels good when that happens. Necron players are always like, oh, I'm immune to morale. I'm leadership 10 everywhere. I could never fail. And then you're like, what if you're like -3 leadership or whatever? And then they start running. That is funny. It tickles me to no end when that happens. But these 9 model Tombblade bricks could certainly run. Especially in this matchup where they could potentially be -2 leadership in addition to casualties. Not right now, though. That comes later. So I think, yeah, I mean, we have to say that's a pretty good turn for Dragonbeef. Got his secondaries off. Going to be scoring up big time on Reality Rebels. He's killed a bunch of stuff for no prisoners. And he's really... it's game over. Red player wins. That is. But he's really put himself in a very aggressive position. Right now, obviously, the Scorpic Destroyers can counterpunch. We probably see the Keeper of Secrets get killed here, I imagine. But that is going to draw a lot of fire from the Bloodthirster and Bellicor. It could potentially put Dragonbeef in a position where he's scoring a 12-point primary, which is what he needs. I think there's a non-zero chance we see these Tomb Blades pop up and charge the Fluxmaster, because the Fluxmaster isn't amazing in melee. In fact, it is sort of actively bad. And because they are objective secured, they could grab objective 4 away. But I don't know if we're gonna see the center objective get taken here. I think that it could be that one of these Tombblade units just goes in and toes the middle and eats all the heroic interventions, but that feels a little bit aggressive.
The Keeper of Secrets is a 4 up in melee and a 5 up at range, right?
Keeper's 4 up. So she has the Aegis.
Oh, it's a rubber. Gotcha.
And the first number is your melee normally. So normally she's melee 5, ranged 4.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, everything's ranged is 4 or 3.
Cool. Alright, what's this distance? Whoa, that is weirdly measuring. Back to auto for you. 17.5. That was mediocre. Why is it doing that? 16.8, there you go. So they would need a 6. A little dangerous, but probably worth it. I'll do no command phase stuff, collect my buffs. Where'd this Chronomancer thing go? Chronomancer will Chronomance the Scorpex. Silent King. Oh, I think we'll probably flip our protocol over to... I'll have to move up a little bit, that's fine. We'll pull our main protocol over to fallback and shoot. Silent King will hand off also, I think, to these Scorpex, and then to these Tomb Blades. But this guy, he's a 6-up save in melee. Do you have anything special that defends this guy?
No.
And is there any way to fall back and shoot with flamers?
I can teleport technically with Shrouded Step and still do it. because it doesn't count as falling back, but that's it.
6-1, half done the eye. That seems pretty good.
I wonder if we're going to be trying to push the Scorpax into the
So
Flux Master here. Let's take a little bit of a long charge.
Instead.
We do get that charge bonus from Silent
And
King.
then the Lady Command Bars will put us onto these Scorpax.
We have Sudden Storm active right now, so they are going to be +1 move. Plus the Relentless March off Silent King, so they're +2 move.
Heal automatically from living metal.
We'll move 10 inches. So actually that might not be too bad of a charge. This could be the end for our Flux Master friend here.
I'm forgetting something.
Just the destroyers here, winded over here. Yeah.
Yep, so should be good. We'll go do some stuff. I think our plan is to try and kill Kairos if possible. We'll see. Yeah, that may not happen, but we'll try. These guys, do they heroic anything better than normal?
I don't believe so. Let me double check on the Slanesh things. I don't think so.
Cool.
Nope, you're good.
Cool. These scarabs are just going to try and annoy people. I guess we should probably move these guys first. Move. Go to your 10.
We're going to be going for the relatively squishy Zinch units. Scorpic Destroyers could potentially knock out Kairos in melee. He has only a 5-up save there. But he has a bunch of wounds, and you can spike that 5-up, especially Dragonbeef has a ton of in the bank. Chaos Demons don't really have too many great stratagems, so they tend to have a lot of command. That does mean that it's likely that the Keeper of Secrets will survive. Although maybe the shooting gets her.
Fallback and shoot, you said? So do you lose the +1 move doing that?
So my permanent protocol is the one that gives it to me. So I lose my +3 in train on auras.
Ah, okay, got it.
So this command barge will also continue with Operation Flee.
Run away, run away.
Yeah. I think we actually want to, instead of having you guys in a line, we want to just form a little protective
Keeper minus to
barrier.
hit in melee and range.
Have to be
They're minus to hit in melee for sure. I know that.
there.
Believe that they are minus to hit.
You can pull back
Or at range, excuse me.
there. And then you teleporting down there. And our 3 locust friends can fall back. I'll give them a second.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, it is permanent. You're right. That's my bad, chat. Minus one to hit permanently.
We're gonna go direct towards where the guy. Wow, it's so weird.
Good correction. Pick up.
We'll go there 10 directly towards him. Ooh, do you mind measuring to him from here? Should be 6.8.
Yep, 6.8.
That's great. Ooh. The rest of these guys are that's important. Shoot. You just get off your friend's toes. Get Chronometra on them. These Tomb Blade friends are going over there. These Tomb Blade friends are going to come over here. Let's probably move the Silent King first. Go over here. Just kind of ever so slightly. I guess I don't really care if he's on dense terrain because no one shoots him. And those that do shoot certainly don't care about having to roll a hit.
Yeah, nothing in my army cares about that. I guess Flexmaster technically can shoot, but he's about to biff it, so.
But he's, you know, not the most impressive shooter.
No, not particularly.
I think we just get these guys out of here. They just want to move out of the way. And then you're just like backing up. Oh, oops, sorry, buddy. Backing up all the way to this corner.
Nurgle Mad in chat. What's up, dude? How's it going?
Friendlier. core if he wants to come, could charge, but be what it is. These Tomb Blades can go over his direction.
Oh no, you've blocked my movement.
Oh, get in there, Tomb Blades. Oop, you measuring much more. You'll just hang over here. And over here, just kind of around. So if he did move, he would be not in here. They're just kind of chilling there, and they will do the other ancient machinery. Some of that effective. These are locust heavies. Just want to fall back into the very corner and end in the king's aura, which is actually now smaller. It's a 6 now, so over there, buddies. Boop. Boop. Is that too far for them?
No, you should be fine.
Okay.
So if you change the directionality, I think.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I should have measured it first. I forgot that the aura was smaller.
Yeah, you're good. I know what your intent is, and I know you were close enough, so. Cool. 8-inch move because it's what you want. Actually, they still get the +1 movement anyways, right?
Yeah, they have a 9 right now, yeah.
Exactly.
But do it. These Tomb Blades are a little at a loss where to go. I guess, something's getting smashed. Could be them, could be someone else, but sure will be someone, so they'll...
They are green. Go Hulk smash something.
Yeah, they'll wander around. I mean, they're not going to Hulk smash something. They're going to get Hulk smash, but they'll at least try to be annoying in the meantime.
Definitely, yeah.
I think
That is the purview of this demon army.
Within 15.
It's the Hulk smashiest
They're going
demon.
to get so smashed. Poor guys. But I think they still want to be in front of the king, and they want to be on this objective, and there's not much else for them to do, so that's what they will do. They want to be within 15 of that guy. They'll be, I mean, pretty much up where they are, honestly. It's a little sad, but... Here. Making a spot there to charge those guys. It's not my favorite situation. Let's leave it the way it is. And then those guys all move. These squares, everyone's moved over here. With this plasma site in advance, right with him. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 right now. 11. 12, 13. I guess right there is mine. Room. And then these guys in the moon phase will Veil of Darkness. Will I think go just off into the corner here. Just make you come get me.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has to be within 6 of those. Right over here.
Let's see, you can see the full bubble
Might
for
be
whatever reason it's
able
not showing.
to knock out
Gotcha.
the Demonettes with the shot. The Demonettes do have a 4+
Anytime
save in melee, although against ranged attacks, excuse me. But the particle beamers do have a high enough volume to defeat them. We do have flamers coming in. As long as the Demonettes don't die here, Dragonbeef shouldn't lose the objective. These flamers will be able to pick up the Tomb Blades. But with the help of the Demonettes, coming turn. Although if the Fluxmaster goes down, that does require Kairos to start buffing the flamers. And to be fair, Kairos might also die. If both of those go down, things are looking pretty grim for Dragonbeef, unfortunately. But not too much he can do about that. He does have to play aggressively in this matchup.
Possible.
I do like this play from Zach, though.
An 18, looks fine. Yeah, looks good. That's them, and then we shoot some stuff because like phase continues to suck. We don't like it.
Do it.
I think we'll start with the probably command launch. How do you guys? These guys are locked in, so they'll shoot the Keeper of Secrets. They'll pay 1 CP for 6's auto wound. And now they have 36 shots. 18 times 2? Yes, I can do math. Hitting on 2s, right? Is it mine supposed to hit only in melee?
All the time for the keeper.
Okay. So everything, I think at this point they just want to reroll these. I think the math is actually equal at that stage. These guys auto wound, they do a great job there. And then 5s, they don't do as great up there. AP doesn't matter. Oops.
AP
sorry.
doesn't matter. No, you're good. All right, so 17 for us.
Neat.
All right, so take 7. And 10.
Nice and even. And then we'll do the barge shooter.
Oof, big hit.
We have a voltaic staff
Keeper.
with 4 shots.
Making
Phew.
best use of that.
She hits on 3s because I think she has milestone to hit. Falling back and shooting from the protocol. This
That's,
is
Last hit anyways from keeper.
double
Protocol of
bomb.
the Conquering Tyrant.
And then the
Fall back and shoot.
Teslas on 6s. So one Tesla. Strength 6, you're T7, right?
Yep, so 5s.
Ooh.
Takes
2
it.
damage.
Ouch.
And the cannon. Pew. Gets 2 hits. It's also strength 6. And 1 wound.
Takes it. Damage.
D3 for 3. Good for her. She finally did something.
Okay.
None of these randos over here shoot anything. So
Chat, one unit of
here,
Team Blades has gas cannons.
And
The one that's up
first.
here hanging out with the Demonettes has the particle beamers.
Little
The other
snakes.
unit has gas cannons.
Can't shoot the Bloodthirster, don't think. Bloodthirster cannot be seen. And it feels like overkill to shoot the Keeper, but shooting Kairos is also a huge waste. So I think we'll drop both Menhirs into the Keeper. And the Silent King might shoot Kairos. They're all the same toughness 7, right? Except for the Bloodthirster who's 8.
Correct.
Yeah, no one's 6. It's irrelevant.
Nope.
But I guess we could fail here. That would be bummer. I think we'll start with these guys. No, but they can shoot other people. Okay, now we will do the Silent King, and he will do his Menhirs here and the his other shots into the Kairos. So his Menhirs hitting on 3s, rerolling from himself. Ooh. And we'll pay 1 CP to auto wound with this.
Okay.
All right, Kairos, stay strong, buddy. And
Yep.
nailed it.
Curses.
2 invulnerable.
2 Kairos. His big gun. Ooh. Hitting on 2s against Kairos, right?
Yeah, no penalty here.
And then 3s. 3 saves.
How much damage does this do?
2.
Takes 2.
Cool.
Oof.
And then his little gun is 9 shots. And wounding on 5s. 1 wound.
It's gonna fail, right? Yeah, there you go.
Neat. 1 damage.
Blink.
10 to 17.
And then I guess we'll do these heavies into the Keeper. And how much CP do we want to spend here? You want to go down to 1? We only need 1.
I could double. Could spend 2 to
So yeah,
roll our wound roll.
spend our last 2 to give them reroll wounds.
I will reroll wounds. I will make
Reroll
that
wounds.
one more in the future.
You got it.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Okay. So they're hitting on 3s right now. And then they're strength 10, so winning on 3s.
How are they hitting on 2s here? Because they didn't get buffed from the...
They're not hitting on 2s. You're saying judgment. What did I roll? Back to the vice thing.
They should be hitting on 4s at the moment, right? Because they're not plus.
Yeah, even if they got buffed, they would be hitting on
What
4.
did I
It would be
roll?
-2.
Rolls. Gotcha. And I rolled 2 3s and a 5. Bummer.
2
I
3s
need to
would
re-
fail.
Yeah,
So
3
this
fails.
one
So I
you
need to
reroll.
reroll them from the Silent King.
Yep.
Okay. So I'll do that. 1 hits, and then I rolled a wound here. Is that, I think, the way to do this?
This hit 2, so you have 2 to wound here. Because you have 3 shots, right? And then
Gotcha.
you missed the 2 that you rolled, so these are
Sounds
your 2
good. So,
rolls.
sounds good. So we'll roll these to wound, and then reroll into wound from the stratagem.
Yep.
Okay, so 3 wounds. Or 2. Sorry, 2.
You're good. I know.
Numbers are hard.
4s.
Alright, we figured it out.
I will reroll that.
The first one fails. I think this is the end of
Good.
Necron shooting here. Can we save it? Ooh, we
Nope,
can't. 3d3 damage goes straight on her.
Again,
Does she
failed.
die? That is 5
3,
damage.
4, 5.
It's like the keeper is exactly killed. Unfortunate. And I think that
They
was
don't
the
explode, right?
that was the result that we were basically expecting from there. But the real question here comes at how much damage the demon army is going to take from the melee here.
They're funky.
If these Corpic Destroyers fail to charge, it's going to feel pretty good for demons.
That's good. 6.
Oop.
Nope. Looks like they're
7.
getting in. Going to lose objective 4. Oh, no.
Oop. TTS, you can do it. I believe in you.
Yeah, looks like
thinking real hard.
looks like TTS is just...
Yeah, nothing's working.
Okay. At least it's not just me.
right, chat.
See what we got here. These are on 4s.
Welcome back. Apologize for that momentary interruption there. We had a little crash on TTS, but we are back now. Looks like we had forgotten to, or Zach had forgotten to fire his Tomb Blades into the demon that's back here, which Dragonbeef graciously let him go back and do. Which looks like we actually removed the entire Demonite unit, which is a pretty big deal for our poor demon friends here. These Tomb Blades kind of lighten it up right now. So that is going to lose Dragonbeef Objective 5. It looks like he's going to hold on to the center objective, but he's probably going to lose Objective 4 as well. Oh, and lost Dragon. So many problems here. Get that fixed. My microphone picking up? It looks like it's kind of cutting out.
Yeah, I think TTS just kicked me, so give me 1 second.
And I've once again been demoted.
I don't know if Trevor's crashing again.
But Arthur's not saying anything is concerning. Okay.
Yeah, so chat, like the maybe CTS may be having some deeper issues here. Both players just lost connection, and it doesn't look like can join any games right now. So we're gonna give it a sec. Good old tabletop simulator problems. No big deal. It's not a Tuesday even. It's a Wednesday. That's why we stopped streaming on Tuesdays. But I guess this week it's Wednesdays. All right, chat. Looks like the players are coming back in. Weird connection hiccup on CTO side. It's like everyone got booted out of their games and then they had to restart their program. But on the host side, it was fine. Good stuff. Nailed it.
I am attempting to roll a charge. Is that right for these guys? Onto Kairos?
You already, yes, because you rolled the charge here, you got that. We went back, we did this, and I think you were saying these into Kairos, yes.
Yes. Okay. Go, my minions.
Yeah, you might just have
Roll
to some coherency work here.
Oh, it's these guys
All over the place.
Oh, they sure are. There you go. That'll do that.
All right, there we go, chat. Everything's fixed. We're getting it done. Players are back in. Completing the game.
Two of these two, so you're actually.
How are people enjoying the game so far? I think this has been an interesting one. I do think Necrons are. We're down one greater demon. We're down the Demonettes in the back. Still Flamers in reserve though, so certainly a lot to come back from for with the demons. But obviously, if Kairos goes down here, I think things are going to be really tough for Dragonbeef. Big charge, 9-inch charge from the Scorpic Destroyers onto Kairos Fate Weaver, and that does look like they might be pushing around to get onto that objective. They just got to stay outside 3 inches of Bellicor so he doesn't eat the unit. Now, I think what may be a mistake here is that we don't have the Flux Master. I guess that isn't that big of a deal. But Dragonbeef may be able to use some combat maneuvering to make it really awkward to fight that guy. If he pins this Scorpic Destroyer, I'm not sure these Scorpic Destroyers can get in. And Prospero can still touch Objective 4, which is what he wants to do. But whether or not he can do that while killing the Flux Master. So
we'll just start fighting over here. See what we can do against Kairos. And we'll pull this guy in. We just want him to be on the point.
So swinging at Kairos first. He is certainly the more dangerous of the combatants over here. He's not the greatest combatant fighter in melee. He's only 3+ weapon skill, 5 attacks, but he does hit hard enough that he could kill enough Scorpic Destroyers that he would know like. I don't know if we if we infused the Scorpex here, the Plasma Sight.
Oops, this guy may not be able to make it in, but we'll see what we can do. Which probably is not much. You could come over there. So I guess you just come here. You come through the wall. Oops, over here. Which you can't do, I don't think. I think you're stuck, buddy. This wall is too thick for you. Yeah, the only way you can come through is here, and you wouldn't be coherent. So he's stuck there. I think that means this guy stands back here, and you just have to be back here. You're good to go. Okay. So Kairos may just live here. We have 2 replays, 2 treasure guys. Replay dudes. Hitting on 2s, you're rolling 1s. I guess I'll put this in.
Stay strong, Kairos.
And then these guys are strength, I think 9 right now. Higher than 7, certainly. They're strength
7.
5, 6, 7, 8. They're strength 8.
Where are you getting the +1 strength from? The other +1?
Plasma sights. You get +1 strength and +1 attack.
Don't you have to do an ability for that? I thought you have to.
Oh
do...
yes, that's where we dropped out. Yes. I was about to roll it. Sorry.
Nope. Okay.
Oop, I guess not roll a 1. He didn't roll a 1.
I'm not even
and
sure
then
though.
2 more
The roll
turns.
would have made a huge difference there because the
You
model
get
who's
+1
not in
attack.
combat could have been pulled anyway, or who could not get to combat.
Hits. We can do all of them wounding. I've already lost track of the strength. What was it? It is
No,
5
strength
base,
8.
6, 7,
So
6. Okay.
yep. So wounding on 3s.
3s. For those make saves.
Here. These are how much damage each?
3 each.
3 each. All right. So I will save it here. Save.
Start.
Nope. Take it. Save.
Nice. Oh my god, Kairos bossing the saves here. Takes 6
did I
damage
roll
from the
out 6
replays.
damage?
Still a ton of attacks coming through from the Threshers, though.
So wounding on 5.
See if he can
I'll
survive.
CP reroll that here.
Oh, CP reroll our last one. That is going to be the most impactful one. Doesn't
Nope.
quite
So
make it.
take 2, so 6 damage. So down to 11.
Cool. Blades have 5 each. And they will go attempt to chop. They'll hit. And 5s. Oh, they do a pretty good
Good
job.
enough. All right.
Solid swing
Use it,
here.
so
Can't
take
die
1.
though.
Ouch. Take another 8.
4, 6,
Kairos
8.
down
He
to
does
3.
survive.
At 3.
Still around.
Yeah.
Kairos again doesn't really care so much about about bracketing for his psychic powers. He just gets a benefit based on the battle round number.
I don't think there's no consolidating. They don't really care. Do you want to interrupt?
Oh, I only have 1 CB because I used it for the reroll.
Oh, fair enough. And it's just these guys beating on the Master of Flux.
Yep. Consolidate on in. And then I'm just going to do this.
There's the guy. Sounds good. Go there, and they go here. You'll get in there. Get in there. No, you can't get through. We've done this before. This wall's too big. So you stay back here, I think. I guess you can end here, but as long as this guy has coherency, it's going to be good.
Coherency is going to be fun.
I think this back guy here would be outside too as well because you
Yeah.
only got 1 guy in.
And I don't think he can get through either.
Oh no.
It's too thick. So this guy just has to stay back here, basically. Which is that?
I think 1 guy can tow in the front here.
I think he just stays where he was. Was he in engage range of this guy?
Honestly, I don't.
I think this guy was closer up, so I don't think he did that. So I think this guy has to stay back here as well, and they basically just hang out where they were. I don't think they can go anywhere much special. They just touch these
This guy just moves up and touches. Yep. Okay.
these guys, yeah. Oh, that's another good point. So I think he has to stand here, there, afterwards. We did it.
Alright.
Okay.
It's like doing rocket surgery over here.
We're just going to.
All right, Flamers, it's time to punch an entire Scorpic Destroyer unit to death. Let's go. Fortunately, we can teleport those flamers out of danger. So not the end of the world for them.
Any good options here? I know how to be aggro with this game, but I'm pretty sure it's in the bag for you.
Kill me dead. That'll do it.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen, I think, with the keeper gun. See, so 3 swings each. These are the only combats left, right? So it's just my swing backs?
Yeah, it's the keeper and then these guys, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I've got 3 dice for keeper, so hitting on 5s now? Yeah, 5s. The gun and wounding. That doesn't wound.
Oh, Kairos, you silly goose.
Alright, and then these guys have
Flamers,
3
I
swings
think
each.
are
Plus
like kind
that,
of
so
decent in
16.
melee, if I remember, yeah.
Except for I think they hit on 4s in melee. Yep, let's go 4s, so most of those missed. And these are on 5s, because they're T5, so yeah.
Ooh. Well, be good there. I think that's everything. I don't
You have
think
3
there's...
save, right? So you actually save that.
Yeah, that saves.
Yeah. Cool.
I think that's it. We will score 4 from Ancient Machinos. Treasures, we hold 3 points for 5. Purge the Vermin is, I think, you have to be wholly within, but I think you can be as close to the center if you want. I don't think there's anything about that. So Kairos counts. And these guys count, so it's just this quarter and this quarter, plus my deployment zone for 3 still, I think.
Yeah.
And then I hold, I think, just 2 for holding anything in the middle. Over to you.
Cool. Let's see here. So we're gonna have to drop these guys just to remind myself. Voila. What does this guy have in melee? Does it matter?
Yeah, so going back to
Alright.
Dragonbeef's turn
You got
now,
3
cut
points.
on primary, unfortunately for him. Because you have the Scorpix holding the center objective and objective 4. Very good turn for the Necrons. Fortunately, the Flamers can drop outside of 3 inches of enemy models because it is their own deployment zone. Dump right up in there. And honestly, I mean, would have been a pretty interesting argument to keep the keeper in the back, because if Zach ever tried one of these moves, you could just jump the keeper right next to the Tomb Blades, and the keeper probably does kill most of the Tomb Blade unit. Dragonbeef now trying to make it so it is impossible to hold that objective without engaging a Flamer. You can force the Tomb Blades to charge a Flamer to get to that objective. He does have the opportunity to then overwatch them and kill you. Question mark here is Kairos, I think. Be'lakor can try to teleport these Flamers out of melee and deal with the Scorpic Destroyers over there. We also have the Bloodthirster who can go somewhere. But Kairos, unfortunately, has no way to interact with his opponent while falling back. He can no longer cast spells if he elects to fall back.
New protocol. He has Hungry Void, +1 strength in the first round of combat. Would have been handy last turn.
I don't think it would have changed anything, honestly.
Just makes we wound Kairos with the little guys on 4s.
Oh, little guys. Yeah.
That's it. That's all. Speed is probably better in the end.
Probably. All right. So we've got Warp Storm points. 4. Not enough to what I needed, and that's done there. Okay, got that done. You had to die, so that's not so great there. So interrogate's basically off the table for a while.
Yeah, that is doubly unfortunate. Now that Be'lakor has to cast some big boy real spells to pull those Flamers out of melee. That is the only kind of throwaway caster the Dragonbeef has. There's a good call, I think, on Zach's turn, on Zach's side for that Sudden Storm. It certainly was a Sudden Storm to give that movement buff to the Scorpic Destroyers to get them in on the Flexmaster. Ended up being very impactful, and I think they just made that charge as well. Quite the movement, it looks like, to get in on those Tomb Blades. Zach with some very good defensive positioning
Oh,
here.
he's coming.
I think
Yeah,
the
question
Bloodthirster
is
probably
what
just
do
picks up these
this.
Vorpex, right? Or tries to. Unfortunately, the Bloodthirster without Argatha King of Blades is a little bit awkward at killing the Scorpack Destroyers. They do have a 5+ invulnerable save right now. So Be'lakor is actually a little bit better at killing them because he can fight through the bone save. But Be'lakor does only have 5 attacks. The Bloodthirster has the several big attacks, but in order to actually ensure that he kills the Scorpax, he has to use his big swing rather than his little swings. And unfortunately, his big swing can get spiked out by those invuln saves. With Argath, though, he one-shots them with his little swing, so he gets 16 attacks against them. There's enough usually to get through that entire unit. That's the big downside of the Monster Mash style of list, is that you're trying to kill an entire army with basically only 4 models. If things go down, if things go south for you, it can go south pretty quickly. Looking for a drop point for these other flamers.
Okay, so I can do that. Interesting.
Nice. That's a nice little pocket for them. And Kairos does have the ability to cast Infernal Flames on them, potentially as well.
So
He does know the entirety of the Tzeentch lore.
I need to kill these. These are going to be where I teleport them. Alright, so I think that's the play that I gotta try and do here. Alright, so. Measurement-wise, I can make it work. So that means that Be'lakor is going to have to come back here. And Bloodthirster is going to come. I need to do something with this group over here. But I do need to kill them, so I think I'm just going to come over here. To be able to charge. So I'm going to actually back up a minute here for that, and then rotate just slightly. So, how much is that movement rotating? Okay, so that's an inch, backed up an inch, and now I should be able to fit him here.
Sorry, bro. Don't put it over your time.
Oh yeah, no worries. So do that.
I really don't think we're gonna run out of time, no.
I don't think we'll have any time here. Actually, this guy's just against the wall, so I can just ping him. Alright, cool. So let's do that. That means I actually don't even need to rotate, so we'll just go here, and we're just going to go with it too. Okay, so that means Be'lakor is going to come back over here. Outside of an inch. Line of sight to them. Perfect. Okay. I don't like these plays, but this is the best I got. Okay. Plasma Sight has 1 hit point? Interesting. Okay. Cool. Moving on to... so is he character protected? Since he's not a character? You said earlier that he
He's
had
weird.
good rules.
He's not a character, but he can't be targeted with range attacks as long as he's within 3 inches to a Scorpack, which I don't think he is.
Okay, so I can actually target him with...
But he can't be shot.
So it can be shot. Alright, so I think we'll flamer him there.
Yeah.
This, that, and the other. Okay.
I guess he's a character only in that he gets character predicted by Scorpacks only, which or by destroyer models only.
Got it. Okay, I think that's going to have to do my movement. Moving on to Psychic Phase. I will spend 3 for +1. So drop to 1. We will come over here. We will start with Be'lakor. Be'lakor will attempt to teleport.
Teleport away.
All right, Be'lakor. Moment of truth.
That will go off on an 8.
We can burn the die, go to shot.
Think or be creative. Thanks for the follow.
Quick
Appreciate
fail.
Cool. So that is them.
You got the shrouded step. The danger zone over there.
Here.
You can basically only shoot the Silent King. I think we're hoping for some good luck
not
here.
touching the terrain, correct? So they are invisible at the moment.
Correct. Although it might be possible to draw inside of these ones at the back here, but yeah.
Probably not with range too, because it's line of sight to model. So yeah. All right. Let's place these here. Yeah. We said we got all of them within 12 earlier, as we showed.
Yep, you should be fine. Good to go.
Cool. Awesome. Paul, you do have, well, you have 1 CP. And,
Paul seems a little bit aggressive. I think we need to do some mortal wounds with these Corpex,
and
honestly.
the plasma sight ability, is that an aura
I
that
don't,
stays?
I don't believe in Bellacor's ability to one-shot this unit. You think we need to kill one? We need to kill one before he goes in. We do have a targetable smite from Kairos. So we could potentially maybe kill 2. If he kills 1, he has to convert his attacks 100%.
They do get to do it in any charge.
Or almost 100%. He has 60.
Do it if he's still alive in the target point phase again.
Okay. Well, we'll attempt to smite here.
Off of them.
This is the Be'lakor.
So cool.
Just
Here's
to see
the
if I can
smite.
kill another one. That will go off on an 8 for D3.
Mhm.
For 3.
Ah, there it is. There's one down. So
We'll
now,
kill another one.
or it does have a pretty good chance to wipe the unit.
So what's that? That's 3-inch charge.
He's hitting and wounding on 2s. That could make that winning on 3s with the -1 to wound stratagem for Scorpex.
Kairos.
And because he punches through invulnerable saves, he automatically kills them if
We're going to
he
start with
attack.
Gateway doesn't matter. Gateway smite.
I believe it's a 6-inch. It's 6 inches to keep the plasma sight alive at the end of the morale phase, chat.
See those guys damage.
I guess he's not really impacted much by being low health. Makes him slow, I suppose.
Makes him slow. Yeah, that's the main detriment. But
Yeah, it
since
is
we're already
6
up there,
inches. So he is within 6 of the Scorpex here.
Yeah. All right.
The plasma
we
sight
are going
doesn't die.
to.
But it will die if the Scorpec unit gets removed.
For let's see here, plus battle round 3 plus 1 from psychic, so that will go off on an 8 for D3.
Cool.
Just 1. I don't believe there's anything else within 3 of them of yours. Yep. No.
Take one.
We will attempt to. What's wounded here? You just have 1 at 2.
That's that man, yeah.
That's great. We'll smite here, I guess.
Ooh, big
for
super.
lots,
Boom.
for 5.
Neat. So that'll kill this guy and also another guy. I guess this guy. Yeah, sure.
And then we've got his bolt, which we will see if it goes off first. Which will. And do I put it on the scale?
Do you think Zach does want to hold the middle here? Which he could do if the Scorpec Destroyer survives. But if he pulls this one, the Bloodthirster has a very difficult charge on these destroyers. And so I actually think he may want to pull off the objective. And he might be able to push back on if this guy survives.
Action here. Good times. Now I've got to go around. We're going to put on the Scarabs. I need 7 more dice.
3 mortals, right?
3 mortals. Won't kill 1. Nothing beneficial there.
I think we'll just do 1, 2, 3.
Yep. All right. Cool.
Is this Scarab already wounded?
Ah, he is.
Oh, he is. Okay.
Yeah, I think he took some damage from the gateway last turn. Right?
Gotcha, yeah.
Cool. So that will kill him, and then it's 1 mortal to the.
Dr. Rhino in chat. What's up,
There
buddy?
you go. Ooh, that's the wrong direction. There
Hey,
you go.
it's excess mortals.
Nice.
Take what I can get.
Everyone loves a good mortal, you know?
Moving on to shooting Bloodthirster into.
Everyone does love a good mortal.
You cannot sights. 5 shots.
Nice mortal for your trouble.
Strength 5. So I think that should be.
Yeah, I'm 2-4. AP?
AP is, I believe, 1.
What the hell is that?
AP 2 actually.
Oh. I see infantry. He's a beast. Do beasts get cover from river terrain? Well,
Yes.
it probably won't matter. You know, anyways.
Beast, Swarm, and Infantry, I thought got covered.
I think you're right. But either way, I roll a 2, so he's dead.
He's dead. All right.
Good job, Bloodthirster. Proud of you, buddy.
Cool. And then we've got Flamers over here. Going to go
The good old flaming breath off the Bloodthirster. Mine is, I don't think, I think has yet to kill anything.
See what
with
we got
my
going on
flaming
here.
Breath, but
That's
it
not
is
what
there.
I needed. It's 20.
Still so many.
I know, it's ridiculous, right? I say it's not what I needed because I rolled poorly and I'm still doing 27. Strength 5, T4.
T5.
T5, so 4s.
Not really gonna clip too many of
14.
these guys out.
These are 5-ups, I think, no matter who it is, because it's AB2, right?
AP2, yep, so 5-ups.
So I think I will actually take it on the guys 3-up saves and no balls first, but either way, it's all the same.
Ooh, that was a
It's a
terrible
terrible
roll, though. Almost
That's
kills
by
the
the way,
unit,
right?
in
So
fact.
1,
6
2,
and
3,
1.
Oh my god.
5,
Okay, well,
6. So it kills, yeah, 6.
Dragonbeef can't be
You
too
already
upset
said.
about that.
Use 2 first.
Didn't roll
and
too many
then
attacks, but also Zach not rolling too many saves.
4,
See if that reanimation protocol comes
6,
back to haunt.
And then does 1 bonus wound. And then you try and res, which is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 6, 8, 10, 12. Yeah, so I'll just take a die out. And 2 come back. And I'm going to make 2 copies here, so we remember that 2 resurrecting. That makes a difference for
Sounds good.
no prisoners. Although I'm pretty sure it'll fix it. I don't know if I care where they go. They can still go this direction.
And then while you finish that up, these flamers here will go into Zarek.
All right, Silent King, time to foosh. Let's go, buddy. Yeah, the new Deathstrike missile rolls are very cool, chat.
17, so 32.
I think those things are going to be kind of integral to how
Strength 5.
Imperial Guard play now.
higher than that, so-
T7, yeah.
obviously, given the fact that Imperial Guard have okay melee now that those Rough Riders have been spoiled, but I think for the most part, we are. I mean, they're going to be direct fire shooting, right? So you want to be able to put the marker in your opponents, like behind your opponent's line of sight blockers, and threaten them with mortal wounds out and face your guns. I think it's going to be really cool.
Come back here and kill that. Charges Bellicor into purple.
So almost got
Poor
him in here,
purple
but
guys.
not quite killed it.
Die gloriously.
I think unfortunate for these flamers. I think that
It's okay, they have an impulse.
Dragonbeef's playing very aggressively with these flamers. He probably would have been behooved because he didn't have any wound buffs here, and that is something that flamers do, you know, probably the most damage per point out of anything in the game. But if they don't have any support, they don't actually hit that hard. They're just trying to roll 5s to wound a lot. But I think if he'd flung these flamers back into his deployment zone, they would have been safe, and they probably would have been able to kill the rest of that Toonblade unit. And that would have been a really big deal. Fortunately, getting a couple damage on a minion actually doesn't do it. But here come the Greater Demons. Looks like we made our charge with the Bloodthirster. That's a really big deal. Yeah. Oh, wow. Like, exactly. Don't overdo it, Bloodthirster.
Who physically said that?
Oh,
Unless he has a plus
physically
1.
moves. Yeah. Correct. All right, let's see what we got here. That will not do it. I will CP reroll that.
Who get him?
Oh, we needed a 7.
Smash him up there for
This
blood.
is what
Right,
happens
roll it.
every day.
Oh, no. Chat. Failed it on the Scorpax. I think that may be GG's there, unfortunately. Probably Kairos goes down and flips that middle objective now. A little bit of a misfortunate placement for Dragonbeef. I think he was looking for a charge on this model, but obviously because Zach had the unit strung out so far, and I apologize, it's hard to see the Telestrator on the red background here, but because he had the unit strung out so far, he could sort of choose which side the Bloodthirster had to go to, either the top or bottom.
He just smashes them, right?
And I think if Dragonbeef had maybe placed the Bloodthirster like this, he could have shaved 1 to 2 inches off either one of these charges and made those generally much safer.
4 of them, yeah. 1, 2.
Oh no, it looks like Bellicor is also flubbed out a little bit here.
5, 4.
Didn't quite kill the entire Scorpion Destroy. Oh no!
Yeah.
And I think I need to kill that guy, so I think it's worth doing it for the 1 here. So I think, yeah, I need to try and kill him.
Go for it.
Okay, CP reroll to kill that last guy. Woof!
That way you don't get the
That's why we needed to kill 1 on the way in,
No, it's
chat,
definitely worth it.
because that makes that much better. All right, so 1 Scorpion Destroyer unit down, the other one's still alive. That's very unfortunate. It doesn't look like Kairos is going to survive here. But fortunately, we don't have a plasma site to rebuff these guys, so they could flub out now that their strength is lower.
Yeah. That and his wasted movement basically means nothing. Nothing. Be'lakor. Oh, his follow-up. So you can
Can't wait to leave a 20-man cultist on an objective. You just lose 16 of them to the death strike going off. That is Chad, for sure. And yeah, there's a lot of people who are like, what if I take the thing that, a missile with a large enough radius that it hits an entire objective marker. And then, like, you'll have to take mortals to stand in the objective marker. But if you're just like, I have enough wounds to survive, like, it'll be fine. Whatever, dude. Doesn't matter so much.
I guess
4s right now. 3s if they get the +1 strength.
But I think, generally speaking, you'll probably take... I think the Plasma Warhead goes off with, like, a 6-inch aura and hits for D3 plus 3 mortals, which is enough mortals to scare people out of the aura, but it's such a large area that you hit like their entire army, basically, if it goes off optimally. And I think that's, like, where you really want to be.
Don't have any CP, and dead.
Yeah, there goes Kairos. That's unfortunate.
I don't think they want to consolidate.
This turn went pretty poorly for Dragonbeef, I think.
I needed the Bloodthirster in charge.
Yeah, he was hoping for a big turn here. If he got... If he over... Basically, if you got this charge and overperformed with both Flamers and maybe knocked the Minions out of Silent King's unit, he's in not too bad of a space. But right now, I think, unfortunately for him, things have sort of fallen apart. I would have felt pretty good for Demons here. I mean, not pretty good, but okay. If this unit of Flamers had pulled back to here and clipped out all this stuff. But as it stands, we can now move a Tomb Blade onto this objective in the side here. And just grab that objective and continue to force Demons down to a 0 primary. Like I said at the top of the game chat, the big downside for Demons here is that they have basically no objective secured. And while they can kind of play the objective secured game by putting their stuff in the center of objectives to threaten heroic interventions, if any Necron unit is able to touch that objective and survive for a turn, they will... That's good enough, basically, to drop down the demon turn, the demon score. Yeah. So now we're gonna start scoring 12-point primary turns.
If you want to call it here, we can probably map it out. Otherwise,
I think we might get a talk out here.
People watching. I mean, may as well have fun.
Yeah. Well,
Nope.
I
Looks
do
like
love fun.
Like I said, even losing here, man, I came into this game. I have no obsec. You're all obsec. I knew it was a hard dash. I had to be aggressive, and my problem is that my aggressiveness has not paid off in half of my plays with charges and whatnot failing so far. So
yeah, things like failing charges are always so brutal because it's an all or nothing thing, right?
yeah, and it was an uphill battle for me anyways with that in mind. So I mean,
Where did I put?
All right.
Here?
So I think we'll just walk. Sounds like we'll play it out for the
I'm not
lulls.
sure there's not much to do, so I guess I'll just give it to these two blades. The Silent King will...
I think that actually doesn't. Oh, it gives them reroll charges, I
These
guess.
two blades, and also I
Cool.
guess these heavies. Although maybe himself is better, but I think that's still a good do. And she will hand it to herself because there's nothing else. And then
Dragonbeef is incentivized to play this out of your chat, especially because he is scoring out no prisoners. So he's gonna try to be getting, trying to be getting as many points for kills as possible over the course of the game, because that will impact his final place. So while I think that turn unfortunately went so poorly for him that he's probably out of contention to win, he can place highly if he does get a high battle point score. These Scorpion Destroyers just continuing to push the center of the table for the Necrons. That's brutal. This unit basically just like trampled over Kairos Fate Weaver and is about to go kill some Zinch Flamers. Absolutely disgusting. You hate to see it, chat. You hate to see it. Well, how's everybody's week been going? As we go through some Necron movement phase, how's everybody doing? Everybody painting some good stuff? Everybody got some games scheduled for this weekend? I might hit up a tournament this weekend. Not sure what I'm going to play yet. But I haven't decided. Kind of excited though. Really been. I don't know what I want to play Tyranids. I don't know what I want to play, but it does feel good having the entire Tyranid roster sort of opened up now that Leviathan is less oppressive. Tomb Blades. Tomb Blades could theoretically have failed morale chat. Yeah, we should ask.
Winglet over here, I guess, right here.
We roll morale for the Tomb Blades last turn.
You didn't need it because you res 2.
I did roll. They rolled a 1.
Oh, there you go.
No, I thought
Insane.
we had calculated. You're
You
good. Man.
rolled-
I knew.
Well,
we had
yeah,
one right there.
if you lose 5, you can still fail on a
Yeah,
5 or a
six.
6, right? Because they're -1 lead.
Yeah, they lost 4 though. I think they can't fail. Actually.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
I wish.
Yeah, they could have failed on a 6, I think, right? Because of the
-1.
the Demon Aura.
Ah, there you go.
If we rolled a 1, doesn't matter.
That's it. Oops, I just locked myself. That's right.
There you go.
Uh,
We rolled it out, chat. We did talk about how good -1 leadership war is when the Necrons start failing leadership. It's funny as hell.
On the points. Okay. Good. And then these heavies are really not sure what their deal is. Can't shoot Bellicors no matter what they do.
Biotac getting the hacking ton land fortresses out done for your RTT. Hell yeah, dude. Sounds fun. I know talking to some local LOV players, they were saying that they basically just putting all their eggs in the hecaton and dude with gun camp, basically cutting a lot of the melee stuff and just pushing for the pioneers in the range unit.
Flamers, I guess that's the only thing to do. I try and get in the way of Bellicor, I suppose, but
I mean, right now you're hitting on 3s with him.
it's just we're not even gonna try. Bellicor is immortal.
Speaking of failing charges, I've had several pods with him failing 4-inch charges.
Yikes! That is 4-inch charges is quite tough.
4-inch charges. Those are the ones I feel bad. The 7 on this was a little frustrating because I was always
A
an
7
inch
reroll
short.
for like that's like a 75% chance to happen or something like that.
Yeah. But it was also like I should have thought of the mortal wounds coming out and killing things in the removal that you would play out and place him in a better position to go either direction, but I wanted to push him up the board. So it's just a bad play by me.
In my mind, I thought he was going to charge over here and try and kill these scarabs. Then I remember that fly doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Terrain, my friend.
Drop it over here.
Good old terrain. Wolf Kings working on a new list. Another game on TTS. Yeah, I think I'm. I gotta get some games in TTS this weekend. I gotta test play some lists. Looking over, we did a lot of talk about interesting Tyranid lists on Tactical Tuesday. This past week, which I thought was a great show. Probably ended up being one of my favorite Tactical Tuesday shows. I think time. But pretty excited to play some Tyranid lists, some interesting and different Tyranid lists. I haven't put enough thought into Raveners. I think that's the change has happened.
Yeah, I'm just letting you know in case. It would have worked if that's what you wanted.
Gotcha. Fair enough.
Need more reps into Tyranids, Nergomat? With Demons? I think Demons kind of have... I don't know. That matchup's really interesting in my... Tyranids have like a lot of mortal wounds and multi-phase damage, so they're good at killing Demons, but Demons are also equally good at killing Tyranids.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I think it's a very bloody game. That Argath, King of Blades, Bloodthirster, or even, yeah, just almost any Bloodthirster build, it's like so good into Tyranids. Even though Tyranids can kill him in one turn, potentially, that guy hits like a truck.
Okie dokie. That's it. Psychic phase is done. Shooting phase. These guys will shoot these flamers, and I can't afford 6 auto wounds. They just shoot them. That's just what they do. 36 shots. Phew. Twos.
Ew.
Rerolling. And
You
then
missed some. What is this? 100% conversion.
you see 4 or 5.
T4.
Matt liked running the Bloodthirster, but not maining him. What? You just gotta model up like a Bloodthirster that's all like diseased and urgly, right? Great saving throw from Dragonbeef here. Only lost one Flamer to the Tombblade shot, which is very impressive.
Then I guess his move is to shoot the Bloodthirster.
I would have called that earlier, but I thought you were coming over here for that.
Yeah, that's fine. That's my mistake. I don't know why in my mind I translated this objective to the terrain, but you just Bloodthirster. That's a good use of time. So we'll do that. Let's get 2 miniers. 2 on 2s. And then
Threes.
I want to say 3s. Yep, 1 save.
He takes it.
6.
Gave away a Bloodthirster for free at the end of 8th. They were
I'm feeling the
god awful terrible in 8th edition. What a glow up that unit has had, right? Like that is one of the greatest success stories of 9th edition is the Bloodthirster. Because that thing was stone garbage in 8th edition. Even with those exalted Bloodthirster traits, like he came out with those and everyone was excited for them. Like, oh look, phase caps and damage ignores and all of this cool stuff they can do. And turns out 16 wounds on that guy was just not enough.
Okay then.
I've only had 6 on a wound, but only 2 wounds. Damage 1.
These are on 3s.
Such a cool model too, Chad, by the way.
Nice.
While I was assembling mine, I was like, god damn, dude. Bloodthirster's so cool. I wish they were a little bit more posable, but that's what it is.
Our friends from the back row.
Our friends in the back. They shoot them, pew, they hit.
Yep.
And they wound only once.
Only once. This is on a 4. Good.
Neat. And then our friend from over here shoots.
So BT getting
so we'll
blinked
take
for
that.
4.
Yep. Okay.
Really, well, that tanky build's working out for that guy. Just blanking a bunch of damage. No problem.
Damage 2.
4s. Takes 2. Feeling the pain. Takes 2.
Yeah, I think that is sort of the secret for Warhammer, and I think one of the reasons that the game's like has such longevity, right? Where because everyone's profiles get refreshed so often, so often being within a Nurgle Matt gives World Kings 12 a subscription. Thank you, Nurgle Matt. Appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for supporting, dude. And Wolf King, thanks for the congratulations on getting the sub there. Good stuff. But it gives you an incentive to hold on to your models. You know, I have this Tyranid army, and I have like most of the models in Tyranids at this point, and sometimes they're good and sometimes they're bad, but eventually like a new data cycle will come out, or a new meta will shift, or a new codex will come out, and then they'll be good again. And so in a long enough period of time, you get really good use out of everything you buy. But it gives you an incentive not to purchase new models, or not to sell off your models and to purchase, which certainly helps support the game for sure. Which is kind of a genius when you think about it. They don't have to put too much into R&D to make a ton of new profiles.
These Tomb Blades could also charge just from movement, so that's probably a good idea. So I think we'll start with the Chronomancer, charging those. Flamers as well.
Charging what?
The Flamers.
Oh, these guys are charging. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Get him Chronomancer. Get those little tendril attacks in there. Tickle, tickle, tickle.
Same as 4.
Tickle, tickle.
No,
Unfortunate how this Scorpic unit up here has sort of collapsed this whole area. I think Dragonbeef has to be pretty happy with how these Flamers ended up in the bottom here. I think that Prospero really has the guff to charge them. Tomb Blades don't do too much damage in melee against them. But the fact that they bossed their saves is really good. But these Scorpecs now being able to charge these guys through the line of sight blocker and making that charge was like a 7-inch charge. Meant that then all of these Tomb Blades got to get into, and that just immediately not only meant that they couldn't Overwatch to deal damage, but also flipped the objective. Ooh, look at that! Look at that wound roll there.
Hits.
7.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Plus good there, but okay, still.
6s.
Oh, good saves though.
3.
Damage 3, 1 dead. Okay.
Flips out one flamey
And then
boy.
that one Thresher. Rerolls ones. The twos
Well,
miss.
Prospero is rolling like hot garbage
or
here.
1 wound.
One wound from the Threshers. Jeez.
1 wound. All right. Takes it. How much damage? 2.
Models seem to rotate. Just got to hold on to them.
Cool.
Sure.
We'll just consolidate in here.
Don't know what to do with obliterators. Yeah, we'll be fine. I think one-off obliterators are pretty good. They definitely aren't what they were in 8th edition. They were pants on head busted in 8th edition. I think one of my favorite games I ever watched was we had a player, Phil Barfoot was the player, and I forget his screen name, but in season 1 of T5S2, he played Lords of Skulls for a really long time. Watched him a ton of games over the course of the first season before 9th edition came out. And the Lord of Skulls list was absolutely brutal. The Crimson Crown combo on those guys. And as soon as 8th edition came out and the obscuring keyword became a thing, all of those big Titanic units that didn't get any updates, didn't get any harder to kill, but became much easier to see because you could shoot them through terrain and they couldn't necessarily shoot back. So one of the first games of the first T5S2 invitationals we had was Crimson Crown. It was a Crimson Crown combo mirror match, but one player was running. It was Wolf on Mibu running Obliterators versus the Lords of Skulls. And one unit of Obliterators killed a Lord of Skulls full to dead. I was like, Jesus Christ. This unit, man. Exploding hits and exploding wounds on a unit that fires that many times with rampant technoviruses. Turns out, pretty good.
Over here.
And then he has 2 bonus attack from his Chrono Tendrils.
The objective, I think, is about 1 millimeter tall, and I think that Prospero has put him at a position where he's exactly on the edge, so he's just bouncing back and forth. He might also be bouncing off one of these other model spaces when he. The physics of the scanned, like these rotoscoped in models or whatever, these scanned in models tends to be pretty weird. He's just doing a little dance, though. He's really excited that he was able to charge into this objective, you know? He's just happy to be here, champ.
I think that's going to do it. All right, so these 2 are going to go into your Chronomancer, and this one's going to go into your Twin Blade.
All right,
Wobbling Chronomancer.
It's a wobbling Chronomancer. That's
put this Chronomancer
perpetual
down.
Wobbling.
He's a very nervous guy.
We got 4 3s, so 7 swings. Let's see what we got going on here. 4s, cool, and then strength 5, so 3s, 2, AP 0.
Onto the Chronomancer?
Yep, on the Chronomancer.
I think he has a 4.
Forbs. Yep. And then into the Twin Blades. Dose and strength 5.
Okay, chat. So here's what I want to see this coming turn. I want to see the Bloodthirster hop this wall and charge into these Tomb Blades. Because he hits for 2 damage on the 16 attack, so there's a non-zero chance he just wipes the entire Tomb Blade. Bellicor can hop over and charge this Menhir, so that Silent King can't force him to fight last. And then Bellicor swings first. He can clip both of the Menhirs and do a bunch of damage to Silent King and not take the swing. And Silent King isn't obsec, so if the Bloodthirster can then kill all the Tomb Blades, he actually flips that objective. That's what I want to see happen here, chat.
So already Ancient Machineries were on 1.
Yeah, maybe it's because the Chronomancer attacks with his tentacles, right? But the tentacles are what he stands on. So maybe he's got to go up on like 1 foot basically to like kick you with one of his tentacles and then to get you with the other tentacle, which is why he's bouncing back. You know what I mean? All right, going back to Dragonbeef's turn, excuse me. Dragonbeef down to 0 primary again, unfortunately. Score run away from him. Hoping to get some points off those secondary objectives. Big 5-pointer for Warp Storm.
Cool. Movement. Now here's an interesting play. Okay, if I come over here, I can see the flamers. So I wonder if I do this. So, okay, I think I have I'm gonna at least have some fun here. We're gonna see what we can do here. So I want to come over here onto the point. Now,
Beautiful.
Build tentacles.
is he
He's
OBSEC?
No, he's not.
He is not OBSEC. All right. We'll come over here.
OBSEC.
Outside 3 inches.
I think you're speed 12, so you're fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Flamers going over
I
there.
think we'll go there. Everyone has line of sight to your tomb blades.
That's lame.
Down
The
that
flamers
way.
aren't going to kill the two blades. They're not going to steal it. I want to see the Be'lakor fight the Silent King. The battle of centuries. Let's go. I do think, especially if the Silent King goes down, now that the Scorpic Destroyers are either dead or on the other side of the table, this Bloodthirster is like functionally immortal. He can only take 8 wounds a phase. If the Silent King gets knocked out, he's the only real melee threat here.
Flamers?
So we could take 8 from the shooting and then 8 from the Silent King himself. But, no. Be'lakor, stop it. Where are you going, buddy? Go kill Silent King with your big sword. No. There is a non-zero chance Be'lakor just aces that guy in one swing. Does punch through the invulnerable save. He could, on average, he one-shots a Minear. So if he can smite one Minear, the wounded Minear, and kill it, and do it with, between smiting and range attacks, potentially kill that Minear. He can one-shot the other Minear and then put like 4 wounds onto Silent King, and that should kill him. 3 to 4 should kill him. He's going the opposite way. He's killing Tomb Blades. No. Sad. And Bloodthirster, I don't know, kills some Tomb Blades or kills the Heavy Destroyers.
I don't think that matters.
I think a model in the middle will
Cherokee gets
definitely
some
give
points, which is
Dragonbeef the ability to continue to score reality rebels, though. And I think what he's trying to do is pull the flamers out of melee, which is probably the actual better play. But I want to see Be'lakor fight the Silent King. Bloodthirster could go into Silent King, but it's like a lot scarier. TSK could Overwatch and he full rerolls, so he can actually do damage in Overwatch. And then because of the angle the Bloodthirster has to come in at, he probably is fighting last. So he could actually just die, which would be sad. But because Be'lakor's coming in this way instead of this way, he can he has a good charge onto the Minears, which don't make him fight last, whereas Silent King himself. Bloodthirster's on Tomb Blade. Bloodthirster is good at killing. I think you just run these flamers as far back as you can. Actually wonder if you could get them in this table quarter to score reality rebels over there. Because they don't score it in your home table quarter because there's too many enemy units. Yeah. All right. I think Be'lakor is going into Silent King, which is good. That's the matchup that fans wanted. But this really kind of showcases the downside of giving away the flamers so dearly. That you no longer have really good units at killing these like chaff units. What you want is flamers that can just come in and like split fire and kill 3 scarabs and a heavy destroyer or something. But if they're dead, you can't do that. This just in, chat. If your models are dead, they can't attack enemy.
Sarah, you have 2. Actually, let me do movement here real quick because I think I want Sarah him to be the closest model. So I think I want to go.
Sounds good.
I don't think I can do that though. All right, that doesn't actually.
I mean, if you have more movement, you can just go right there, right?
Yeah, but I also want to be outside 3, so I guess I can.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Let's see here. So he was right here. Yeah, so I should have about 1.8 left, so I can go here.
What do I think of Soul Grinders? I think Soul Grinders are pretty good, actually. I think I put them on like my honorable mentions as best units in the Codex.
3.
They have decent shooting, which is very important.
And moving on to shooting.
And they are very difficult to kill
Be'lakor
for their
is
points value.
Smite.
I think, yeah, the fact that they get into like gunfights very well, because you can make them either like T9 with the Nurgle one or 4+ invulnerable with the Zinch one.
Bellicor is going to
So they don't really die to other shooting,
that
and
is not
they
going
have
to-
okay guns, not amazing guns, but okay guns, especially the Zinch one because you can make it ballistic skill too,
That's that.
and
gun
decent melee
shooting,
also.
Bloodthirsters
So they give you like a
are
gun
so
platform that nothing else in the Codex does, which I think is pretty solid.
this is one.
Oh yeah, Corn one like just
Okay,
slaps
kill him.
super hard. I mean, all of them are good. They actually did a good job at
Five,
balancing all the
two,
Allegiant abilities.
-1.
Where like I don't know which one is my favorite.
These are
Or minus
-2.
2. Hellflame.
-3. I just get through, I think.
-2.
-2. Then it's 6 ups. So 1 save.
Just 1 damage. Just 1. Doesn't kill him.
Blink.
Blink. Cool. Fell back. Did that. Checking myself. Yeah, I could not have fallen back and gotten wholly into that table quarter, so that wouldn't work. That doesn't get me anything. Yep, just making sure I did everything I could. Bloodthirster, shots, fell back here into green. 46. Alright, that's better roll. 16 plus 12, 28.
Yikes.
Yeah, it's dumb. T5, right? Yeah, so
Yep.
4s. -2.
These are 5 ups. Kill 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 exactly. We'll just do.
Just reroll that again for your res, because nothing else shooting from that unit.
Fair enough. This is exactly 12?
Yep,
Oh.
12.
Look at that. I guess that
Oh.
makes sense because they're damage 1.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3 come back. So 1, 2, 3 are dead. So it goes 1, 2, 3, and it's a little jumble.
Yeah, I definitely think if Flamers were to get like the significant nerf bat, I think
Charges,
Demons would need a little bit of help for sure.
Yellow.
Although some people swear by the sort of infantry swarm lists.
And Bellicor into 5.
Bellicor, what are you doing, buddy? You're attacking Tomb Blades? I know you're going to kill them. But also, that's lame.
You're right next to your men here, so it doesn't matter.
We now have to
He
charge these
actually
flamers
hurts
now.
in melee, right?
I think yeah, it's pretty good.
Sight
Melee.
dust and some other things in there.
It's pretty weak. He has 4 damage 3s, 6 damage 2s, and 3 damage 1s. He's pretty good. He rerolls all
Okay.
splits.
The fight last bit's kind of nice too.
The
But
fight last bit's annoying. He's not gonna kill Bellicor, but he can do like, I don't know, maybe 5 wounds is my guess.
Okay, so we're gonna do top profile swings, sweepings.
Unfortunately, Bellicor's not even going to flip this objective if he doesn't put anything else on it.
Kill more of them.
So there are 2 models in the Silent Kings unit. And he has to 100% convert to kill these Tomb Blades. A little dicey.
So 6 wings.
Just can't flub your wound roll here, basically.
Rerolling is on 1s.
Start.
2s.
You got to CP that, buddy. Got a CP.
CP reroll it.
CP. There you go.
You have 6 models left, right?
Yep, I have exactly 6.
There it is. 100% convert.
And
Goodbye. Get out of here. Gets the no prisoners points. But if the flamers had charged here, they could have. We could have piled and consolidated one guy onto the objective. Grabbed it. It didn't do that. That's unfortunate.
Let's see here. So you've got to move to shoot because you got to consolidate. But you've got 2 guys with that. Yep. All right, Bloodthirster. Can't take the objective.
I can just I can pick this guy.
You're good. I think that's my turn. Nothing else I can do. Consolidate. Not going anywhere. Bloodthirster. Just make sure I'm only within 6. Yep. Okay. So rebels. This is 1 unit to 1 unit, so I will get 1, 2 points here for rebels. There's 7, And conversion, I did get 2 points
Yep,
here.
middle to middle.
Minus 1 point for that, so just plus.
That's right.
Yep. And that is you with 12 again. And your turn, sorry.
Sounds good. Yeah, there you go.
You have 14 minutes before I board you
Oh.
from lack of time.
Tragedy. These guys will wander over here. And then these guys will go their 14 over here. And drop an extra machineries over there.
While you finish that, I'm going to use the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Sounds good. I'll walk there. These guys don't have much to do. They're just some scarabs scurrying around. I guess they have nothing to do. Do you live a road here? I guess not. It's gonna hang out. Travis, did you pause the timer?
I am not paused the timer.
I don't know why it paused.
Looks like somebody clicked the button. Trying to set time. Set it.
In a second. I think he had a lot. He had like 40 or something minutes.
Probably. There you go.
Cool. And it's ticking. Yeah, there you go. So if this guy can.
I think that
swing over
Zach
here.
did not.
Sorry, back. I was
did
just
not flip
teasing you
his
guys.
turn.
In terms of that, I wouldn't get cocky about it. We're just playing for points for me at this point. We'd use my clock if anything. I mean, we still have like an hour. I think I had like 45-ish actually. So
It's fine. My turns are going to be shockingly short. I'm
like
mostly
3
just gonna stand
models.
on
Yeah,
points.
well,
Like-
we're good.
I can't physically like kill these two guys. So I'm just gonna be.
Feels
hanging
like demons and chaos space marines are well balanced for the most part. Other than,
out. Oh, this guy killed him.
I think that's probably the case.
Shoot.
Emperor's Children
These guys
feel like it could
over
be
here.
a little problematic, but I think that depends on the terrain Brett you're using most likely. It kind of depends entirely on how powerful
Hanging out.
Blasphemasters are at any one time.
Yeah. We're not gonna kill either of these guys. I don't know. We physically can't kill the Bloodthirster. I guess if we did all 8 the time, but that's it. So we got some shooting. It's just the king shooting these guys over here with himself. Who's the only one who can see. And the other ones, I guess, shoot Villicor, even though, it doesn't really matter. Villicor, pew! One hit,
No
because
rerolls?
we don't get rerolls. Yep, nothing. And then our damage twosies.
Whoops. I do think that the combination of demons and chaos space marines probably needs to be looked at. I think it might be, I don't know. I think it's a little bit too strong, but it might just be because of flame.
One, so kills him.
I like that they tried to include sort of a mechanical framework for
And then
demons being included in Chaos Space Marine armies. Like, it has rules that are pretty appropriate, and there's like Warp Locust keyworded stuff in this Chaos Space Marine Codex, which I think is cool.
and then over
But
here,
on the flip side,
these guys.
the rules are kind of poorly written. Ooh, what a shocker. PW wrote bad rules. Amazing.
It's on 4s.
Both hit.
It was on at least 4s. 2 wounds.
Yeah, strength 5. Yep. So
And that's it. The rest of this is irrelevant. So we'll just charge with these Corvex here.
I will Overwatch.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess I probably should start with the Chronomancer first. Honestly, I could just hang out, but
Either way, I'm going to Overwatch.
yeah. It's I guess the Chronomancer first, but sure, we'll do the Chronomancer.
Chrono
Fucking
first?
kill him. Own him.
Own him. 9 plus 9, 18. 3s. 10 -2.
Oh, yeah. I'd say they don't have to roll anything else.
Oh,
You
wow.
go
All right.
there. You go
He has
down
a
to 1.
he has a 4-up invuln? 5. He has a 5-up invuln. No, he has a 4-up.
Yeah, he's 4.
All right. He don't care. Come on down.
Don't charge.
That was a ridiculously good roll, sir.
The tankiest
that was for
Chronomancer
Prospero. That's right here.
in the west.
And then the Scorpex can charge. And they're going. Also, not
Definitely
very
feels like the game has favored your dice.
far. I think they definitely have. Very much so. No other charges. So it's just over here. That was out of the
Okay.
Scorpex.
Yep. The Scorpex that have cleared half my army.
Able to tech in Talons of the Night Terror for creations of Mouse since it does mortal.
The Thresher guy. Rolling 1s. And then 2 wounds.
Yep. These are on 6s.
2
Oh.
damage.
This is 2 damage.
Yep, 2 damage.
Guy's on 2 anyway, so kills him.
The
Oh, to
Reaper
fight against
guys.
creations of Mouse. Sorry, chat.
Rolling 1s.
That was a little bit.
And strength 7 is
Yeah.
3s.
Yeah, dealing mortal wounds is
Also
kind of
just come on,
required
baby.
right now
There you go.
for
Big
both demons and Chaos Space Marine.
And that's
I
all.
agree.
So we'll
Down to 2 models.
we'll
All right,
have them by the
Bellicor.
weapon zone and in this quarter. But holding the
Bellicor,
model
I need.
quarters, so
I'm gonna
2
need you to
episodes.
fight the frickin' Silent
1,
King
2,
here, but
3. Pressure is.
we are top around 5. Looks like Dragonbeef finally getting some victory points on the primary score here.
And then we hold your home objective for there.
Let's see here. Flamers, just 1 died. Nothing there. Warp zone points. Off. Oh, at the end of your morale phase, I'm gonna heal D3 for Bloodthirster. 3.
Nice.
So 17. And they died. They have anybody wounded? They do. So just puts them at full because it doesn't matter. Only 1 wound down. Nothing else. Cool. 8 dice here. Just 2. So it's useless because I'm not going to gaze anything. Alright. Charges, kills, death. What do I do here? Contest.
Fight
I do
Bellicor.
get 4. Woo!
Hey.
Go get Bellicor. Get him. Get him.
Yeah.
Bloodthirster maybe just goes
Alright.
kills these guys because they are
Look
worth
at
a
my
bunch
high
of.
scoring points.
Or they're worth 1 on no percent.
Ridiculously bad. Okay. Do with you. Here's 17 die. I guess I come from else doesn't matter here, so I'm just gonna come and say hi over here. Not gonna prevent you from getting 12 at the end of your turn. That doesn't matter. I'm not gonna kill you. You don't even give me points. Doesn't matter. I think Bellicor is just gonna come say hi to you boys.
Lame. Fight Silent King. Get him.
Flamers.
No big. Sag. Could maybe see Bellicor try to port the Flamers could kill the Scorpic Destroyers. I could see that happen. Bellicor ports them over. But unfortunately, Zach is pretty close already to maxing on primaries. He's at 44, so you don't really have to worry about contesting primaries. Just getting no prisoners point. And if the Flamers go over there and kill either the Scorpex or the Chronomancer, they actually get rid of rebels. So I actually think that's.
She'll do. Sure do. I was actually just counting it up.
Yeah, okay. So we'll do that.
You'd push the Bloodthirster up the middle on turn 1, it might be a different game. I agree, chat. Especially, I mean, hindsight's being 20/20, right? But especially knowing how little damage he took on shooting on the first turn. I do think if the Bloodthirster had towed the middle, I think this does look very different. I also, Yep, here comes the Flamers back there. Grab some Reality Rebels. I also wonder if dropping the Flamers on the Locusts on turn 1 was the right call. I almost sure if it wasn't, but it probably was fine. I do think that putting the second unit of Flamers up was a mistake. I think that should have been down here to deal with this stuff.
Oh, actually, I need to score one that's point.
If I were to call out two mistakes, I think I would. It would have been the that Flamer positioning and the Bloodthirster positioning, so it didn't kill these Scorpex, because the Scorpex sort of kind of
Happened for both of us.
they really
That's actually truly shocking.
cascaded the game in a really bad way.
And no, did you? Yeah.
I do want to applaud Zach for his defensive positioning around the psychic interrogation on turn 1, because he basically put himself in a position where, in order to get psychic interrogation, Dragonbeef had to move into range to get charged. I think he was trying to interrogate the model who was over here. Yeah, so he had to stand here, which is in charge range of Scorpic Destroyer.
Yep, you actually have a real. Nope.
Not today, though. But, you know, we gave it a shot.
Eric just wanted to. I don't know why I just rolled that again. All right, so 4-2.
That is over here, right?
That's over here.
Boop, boop.
Moving on
Damage.
to shootings. So these Bloodthirster into Mr. Tombblade. For 5. He's loving these.
Mm-hmm.
4s is 3 at -2.
Boop, 5 ups.
Yeah.
Those are damage.
You are loving them just as much. 5 ups are killing me. I think that does. Oh yes, and then these guys are going to. With how he's rolled, as Chronomancer is kind of like my arch nemesis at this point.
Hey, you think you can get him with those 3 flamers? Insanity.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna do 1 flamer into him and the other 2 into Scorpex, just because it might give me more wounds. So I think we'll do that. So for the Chronomancer, Porsche. See, this is what I was worried about.
So you're saying? Champ.
I know, right? These are on 3s. Okay. Yeah, this game is interesting. 7 plus 6, 13.
That is monumentally unfortunate. I think that will actually cut a Reality Rebels from Dragonbeef, unless he kills the Scorpic Destroyer. He could charge the Flamers. Maybe. Ooh, good wound roll there.
-2. Yeah, so you save on 5s?
Yeah.
Oh, that was a saving throw, Chad.
Yeah, okay.
These saves are unnecessarily good. The dice box just rubbing it in. Screw you, demons. You get nothing. Flamer's too strong. Oh my god. Yeah, so the Flamers went in and killed a single Scorpic Destroyer with that shot? That was unfortunate.
Shoots.
I think I would have rerolled one of those wound rolls on that Chronomancer.
Bloodthirster charging into Tombblade.
Yeah, that was really sad. That was just dice, though. Yeah, what you can do about it.
That's good.
Uh, 8, and then Bellicor for the second charge.
I appreciate it. Bellicor, Bellicor smite these guys? Seems unnecessary. You actually can't kill one, and it doesn't change your combat math at all.
We'll do Bloodthirster first.
I don't know what else he would have been doing.
So we're just going to do the sweeping blows.
And I think from there,
-3, so
Prospero should just max.
No save. So
But he ignores bolts as well.
He should
he's
max
not
his
ignoring
purge.
bolts.
He just has a 5 up.
Yeah, max his
5 of them?
treasures.
Okay. Oh, that's right. The guys who.
So he
have
should
the,
get the full 100.
Yeah.
Shadow Loop or whatever.
Yeah, it's a shadow.
I think the Splitfire is fine. You're trying to do one
couple.
wound.
2 in each squad that have that.
You have like 6 shots to do
They
one
all have
wound
it.
to a
2 each
T4
will
model.
have Shield lanes instead
That
of
is
those,
a-
like if I've been rolled, they have a
That
3.
is an appropriate time to Splitfire.
And they're all dead.
Like the chances that you flub out there are astronomically low, and it just ended up happening.
Let's go down that path.
Like it's
So,
probably like an
2s,
85% that you kill that Chronomancer.
User, so 2s and 3s that way. So yeah, I think it's
Probably higher
it's
than that.
worse. 2s and
Probably
3s.
high 90.
Doesn't get rerolls, not your Bellicor, and then 3s. Okay. Well, Here's your 5-ups.
Ooh.
Goodbye.
And you live. Nope, that's still 5. Aha!
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Death.
Woo! Something actually became close to working out for me. Bellicorn to your heavies. We got 6 swings. I'm not going to do D1 into them because each one that goes through. Yeah, okay. So on 2s. On 2s.
Oh, Bellicor.
So all 3 dead.
He just bops him.
Bonk.
Yeah, I had to be aggressive, and this is like clearing things out. The problem is that it just happened too late after everything was dead.
Yeah. And the MSU, I think, is often tough for these giant monsters.
I think that's everything of mine, right? Because did it, not consolidating anywhere. Rebels, I get 1 here, 2 here, you deny me now. So it's just 2. For that, conversion, -1. Cool, and I think you cap out here.
Yep.
At the end of the turn, I don't think there's anything I can stop you. I think that maxes you in primaries. Yeah, there's nothing else giving you primaries. Do you do anything else? Purge.
Treasures, I
1
need to
corner,
hold
2
1.
corner. So you get those 2 corners, so you get purge there.
Yep. So we do for purge, and I need to hold 1 point for treasures, which I do. We're done. Good game. Just being murdered slowly on objectives.
Failing charges.
It's brutal. Failing charges is brutal. It's so all or nothing.
And your saves were very, very
were
overpoweredly
good.
strong against me.
They were solid, very solid. Lots of 5s.
Yeah. GG, guys.
GG.
Yeah, your scores
was
are
fun.
all in. It was an interesting one. Definitely the lack of objective secured was a little scary for sure.
It didn't feel like the objectives as cure was as much of an issue as it was just failing to make the plays I needed to make to move my models closer.
Yeah, it was stuff like I think the 2 Scorpec units being able to just like tow onto objectives 3 and 4 on like turn. It's like blank.
Ah, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it was like a pretty big deal. That poor Flex Master. Bit off more than he could chew.
That was a misplay by me because I put Pelagor up here and I thought I had line of sight to do spells with him, and then he ended up not having line of sight. So then he could have done interrogate himself. Yeah. So I had no reason to actually move him into close range of them.
Yeah.
It was a misplay by me.
Yep, that's fair for sure. All right, well, your scores are in, guys. Thank you so much, Zach. Congratulations on taking it down.
Congrats.
Cool.
And I'll let you guys go.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Have a good one, guys.
Yeah, have a good one. All right, team. That's it for us. Thanks everyone for hanging out with me. Go ahead and set that prediction. Necron's taking it down. Everybody who voted for Demons, I'm sorry. My heart goes out to you. But yeah, interesting game. I think certainly not like unwinnable for the Demons, but definitely an uphill battle. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap things up there. We'll go raiding. I think I'm gonna try to be live tomorrow with some gameplay. Like I said, I do need to just get some games. Probably between tomorrow and Friday, I will be live. At least one of those days, playing a couple of games with Tyranids. Not a lot of people on Warhammer. Any games going? Someone's just like playing a shooter. As you do. There's a Wrath or Glory game going. Sigmar happening. Wow, this is it is a barren wasteland in Warhammer. That's sad. All right, that's okay. We're gonna meme raid Artosis. Thanks everybody. Dark Tide beta next week. Oh, does that mean I have to drop in my pre-order so I get access to it? I'm gonna have to do that, chat. I'll play Darktide beta next week. That sounds amazing. I know Darktide is scheduled for the 30th, right? Still 3 weeks away. I'm actually having the real game. I'm excited for the beta for sure. That game's in a sec. All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. See you later, and I'll see you tomorrow.